101 ESPN. Timothy Michael McKenna, Douglas Selvin, Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. Doug, we are live from Oak Valley for day 2 of the Dotem.
This is a really nice place. It's a very cool setup they have here, Oak Valley. As we said yesterday, it's kind of a place a lot of St. Louis golfers, I think, maybe don't know about it. Maybe they haven't been down here if they live in West County or in St. Charles County. It's kind of a little hidden gem tucked away here in Jefferson County.
I would agree with
you. And it's really
Are we sure is
setup.
Tim's mic on? Because I'm pretty sure that will upset the masses. I did have a photographer at Fox 2 yesterday come up to me and said, "Did you know for a while you were broadcasting 2 states?" Yes, we knew.
Yes, I heard that too.
Very aware. Very aware. Yeah, I don't think we can hear Tim.
It's
interesting because his mic says number 2, but we all know Tim's number 1.
Thank you. Good for you, Martin.
Oh,
We are under the tent.
where's my going?
Does anybody see my nurse?
Yes, now we hear you.
Tim.
Mic was off.
Oh, your mic was off.
You had the cough
That's a Jackson thing. He does it a lot, and it's smart so that when you take your headphones off, it doesn't rattle like the Dickens. But that little button will get you, Tim. Welcome back. 3, 2, 1.
It's TMA, and it's presented by Brown and Crouppen. Oh, I'm only God. We're playing another show already.
Let's just play the other show.
I heard the drop. It was faint in my headset, and I'm like, wow. We'll just do the show. I don't give a damn either way.
Yeah, we'll share the airwaves.
Absolutely. Chairman Kurt is back at the world headquarters, and little Jackie Papers is vacationing in the Hamptons today. One of his buddies, I think his name's Stapler, has a wedding tonight. And so little Jackie Papers, he's in wedding season, Doug. 27 years old, that's when you have your first marriage. As you get away from Brentwood Forest, then you get a place, ideally, somewhere in the Brentwood area, about 5 years in, probably sleep with an intern, maybe 4 years.
What's his name?
Ideally, because we're not going to kink shame. Then you hang out at a bar, Clayton, Frontenac a little bit. Maybe there's a girl who went to an elite private school who's a little, friend of the feather. And you might go back at it and go round 2 after a couple of years of going out there and, snorting some rails.
Oh.
And then, you have a child in your mid to late 30s, and then try to stay out of the DMs and not go for a third round. That kind of sums it up in St. Louis, and cheer for UFL.
Tim, is this a screenplay you're working on?
Sounds like it.
Sounds entertaining.
It's an unauthorized autobiography, actually.
Frank always introduces the lovely Monique as his first wife. He always says, "This is my first wife."
Look at this. The first text I see, Martin, this is off-brand. It throws me off. It's like Beltran Wainwright, 2006. Morning, guys. Happy Friday with a smiling emoji, and that's from Lisa. That isn't the brand.
I don't hardly know how to deal with that.
Yeah,
You're supposed to rip us.
exactly.
Lisa, Ollie says hello.
Oh, that's right. She's sideways. Who's she sideways with more?
Mo
Both
and
of
Ollie.
them. Both of them.
Mo and Ollie.
Both of them. Yeah, Doug, as you were saying, we played yesterday. You were here with Mark Hanna. Was that on 12 where you were residing?
Yeah.
Martin, that was playing 114. Mark Hanna said 114.7. He's really dialed in. With Doug and Doug's son, Greg Vaughn, and really just a fabulous head of hair on that hole with Greg Vaughn and Mark Hanna, and now Doug's new hair.
Yeah, my plugs.
Doug's new. Is that taken yet on the
Yeah,
inbox? Doug's new hair.
But they were hanging out throughout the course of it, and I was talking it over with them, talking it over with people here. I was talking it over with Grant from Oak Valley. I love this golf course. I truly do. And here's the truth for the purpose of the audience. If you want to pick up reads, if I didn't care for it, I just wouldn't say anything. But it's really easy to get to. I mean, a number of people yesterday said, I kind of thought it was going to be like a 45-minute to an hour drive, and it's just not. It's at the most, I feel like 20 minutes from 270, 255, and 55. And then it's easy to get to right off of the interstate, and the layout of the golf course is really outstanding, really fun. And now that I've played it, I want to play it again so I can, so I'm more familiar with with where to hit the ball. So it was outstanding. I think people had a great time yesterday, and that was even with a little bit of a rain, never a storm, but just kind of a persistent rain in the latter portions of the afternoon. And then we had a feast. I mean, people were getting fattened up for the slaughter, Martin. You had the donut drive-in, which we'll have again today, Lee's famous recipe chicken strips, and the potato wedges. Oh, Doug, let me bathe in potato wedges.
You bathed in them?
I would. And then Texas Roadhouse yesterday. Today we'll have the same, except for the after round meal. It's Super Smokers. And so this is going to be a pony here for day 2 of the Dotem, presented to you by Michelob Ultra, as we partner with the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of Brian McKenna.
I know Rammer's going to be here.
Rammer's going to be here.
Bob Ramsey. Ring him up. I believe one of the original sports radio hosts, right? KASP, I would think. Work with McKenna back in the day. Yeah, Rammer's.
Did you ever do any KSBP?
No, I don't think so. My first foray into sports radio was at K-Fans, just filling in on a K. Probably with you and Frank, just different. I did some phone-ins with Jay and Warman on, like, when I would be on the road with the Rams, but the old fan sports.
Fan sports.
I never really knew what that meant. Fans.
Well, that irritated Jennings quite a bit, and when he was not in a great mood, especially when he would come in the morning, that was oftentimes he wasn't necessarily looking forward to doing that presentation, which is why I think he enjoyed doing TMA. And he would just be sitting there, and then out of nowhere, in the silence, he'd go, "Fan sports. The hell's that even mean?"
Well, I'm glad he said that. I've always wondered, because it's sports for the fans. So you have to be dyslexic. Fan sports. Well, welcome in nonetheless to this powerhouse. I was searching the Golf Channel last night. I went online. I didn't see any of the results. Tim, did you get a trophy on Thursday?
There were patrons gathered yesterday. I mean, the facility here also is outstanding for the post-round festivities. And for those of you playing today, make sure that you come in for lunch. I don't know how many people took advantage of that yesterday. We certainly did. But yes, following the round, we had the closest to the pin from 100 West Dental, Dr. Brandon Pryor and his team. And then we had the longest drive by Chris Pondoff, who was here yesterday and sending me and Martin like seductive poses via text last night. That was nice.
Really?
Yeah. You somehow got left out of that.
Yeah, he didn't slide into my.
Oh, I'll send it to you, Doug. He is a strange bird.
Is this a live read?
I told him it looked like the new show, Sopranos Reimagined. He was sort of posing, and
it was a glamour shot.
He kind of has that Tony Soprano vibe.
He sponsored that. The winner of that got a $250 gift certificate to Olive and Oak, so that'll be a delicious feast. And then the winner. Do you know what you were here when we were doing the winning score, so you heard the winning score.
Yeah, if I remember, it was minus 15.
16.
16.
Yeah. That's quite a number. So I saw those guys, and I'm like, hey, do you have like some scratch or plus golfers in this pairing? And I think they had a 1 or 2 scratch golfers. So if you have that,
that helps.
You're going to be able to, because most of the par 4s were in the 350, 375 range. If you have a scratch golfer, especially if you have 4 people, there's a very good chance somebody is going to be hitting it, and you're going to be within, 75, 50 yards with some rollout. And Doug, you're going to be able to attack the pins. I mean, let's be transparent about it. You're going to be able to attack the pins. And birdie some holes. And I saw the winning scorecard, and they either birdied or eagled everything but 3 holes. 16 under, Martin, the number yesterday. Today, we're not expecting any precipitation. Doug, how do you handicap the scoring for the players? I know you walked the course this morning and looked at the pin.
Yeah, based on pin positions alone, I think the scores will be even a little better today. Speaking of Christopher Pondorf, he darn near hit a hole-in-one on the number 12. I was standing out there. I mean, he was a couple of inches away from a hole-in-one. I've never had a hole-in-one. You, of course, have had one, Tim.
3.
Oh, many Christmas.
This week? Have you really had a hole-in-one?
I've had 3, yeah.
You've had 3?
I've had 3.
My.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that? There's people who play their whole life.
Who are way better players than me. A hole-in-one is just a straight luck box thing.
Getting it close is skill. Putting it in is luck.
Yeah. I mean,
was this a Tower T? Or?
One was at Gate. We were doing the show. I think. Do you remember this?
God, I don't.
You might not have been in that day. I I was talking about it, but I wasn't with anybody, and I thought it went in. It was on, I think it's 14 at Gateway.
Doug was at 14.
I believe it was 14. at
Doug
Gateway.
was just watching online,
Yeah.
albeit this was 2004.
We used to cover all of your matches on Channel 4.
Smart thing, got great numbers. And there was a father and son behind me on that par 5. And I went back and I said, hey, I think I just got a hole in one, but I'm by myself. Could you come into the green with me to verify it? And we drove up, and sure enough, the ball was in the hole. Well, the cat, being the cat, somehow reaches out to the head pro at Gateway, has him call in just as a caller, and says, we've had a problem recently at the golf course with guys hiding behind the 14th green and tricking players into thinking they got a hole in one. So this is unfortunately probably wasn't a hole in one. It was one of our rogue people in the shrubs putting your ball in the hole. Yeah. I believe Aaron Gleason was the pro, who I think might be at Meadowbrook now, who called in. That damn cat. That damn cat.
He got you.
He got me again.
They used to put it in the paper if you got a hole in one
Yes.
the next day.
Mhm.
And so
And
last
what
week,
club you used?
our buddy Con Lane was in the studio last week
Yeah.
checking out the show. His younger brother, Tim Lane, good friend of mine, got a hole in one, probably at Westboro. And the next day it's in the paper, but they misspelled his name. So the family blew it up somehow and put it on the wall, and it said Timothy LaRue with a 7-iron or 5-iron, whatever it was. So we just called him Timothy LaRue for years.
Timothy LaRue.
Timothy LaRue with a hole in one.
I played with my son and my father. You got a chance to see my dad yesterday, Matt?
Yeah, it was great to
Right?
see him.
Did
And
you
I-
bust out the impression in
I-
front of him?
I just a hint of it, and I said, just so you know, the imitation is terrible on purpose. He said, oh, I get it. I totally get it. And I kind of got the feeling he hasn't listened to the show a ton,
No.
so he may not have been entirely aware of what I was talking about.
He actually does listen to us on 101. I don't think it was a rejection of the show on HD2 so much as he didn't know what the hell HD2 was, like most of the market.
Mhm.
But he does listen to the program, and we were playing, and I was explaining to Doug and Doug's son Greg and Mark Hanna that I have never played in a scramble in which one of the members of my team is intensely MFing me if we don't birdie a hole.
Mm.
But that was the case with my 7-year-old yesterday, who was treating day one of the Dotem like we were playing on Sunday at Augusta National.
Oh, so I thought your dad was MFing.
No. My
So
7-year-old.
extremely competitive.
Oh my God.
I did see him roll in a putt of about 25 feet at least.
He
in a
did.
length.
He did roll in an eagle putt right
Yeah.
before we went over to you guys. But he was monitored. We decided to play in an 8-some with Jackson and his father, who's a hell of a ball striker, Jeff Burkett. Tip of the cap to him. And then Mitch and Jake. So it was fun to be able to play with the group. And for whatever reason, my son was under the impression we were competing with them. Now, I did have the $15,000 bet with Jackson, but that's my own problem.
Sure.
And I was getting 5.5 strokes, and we only lost by 5. So that hook, that hook. So Jackson handed me 15 stacks. And so I was able to actually pay my bookie under the Arnold Warner Tower and still only owe him $3,000 afterwards. So that was huge that I won the $15,000 yesterday. But my son was under the impression, for whatever reason, it was a competition. And when they would birdie a hole and we would par a hole, he'd walk back to the cart. And Doug, he was mad as a hornet.
Throwing clubs or anything?
I go, no one cares. And he goes, I care. And I go, God, this guy, this guy's going to be even. I mean, what in the hell? If we're locked in on a scramble, what
Does
do
he
we
text the show? James, sounds like he's got that in his future.
And at age 7, he expected to be able to compete with the
Yeah,
adults?
and we had, there was a 200-yard par 3, and he hit it as far as he can hit it, which is about 125 yards. He's 7, I mean, what the hell? And I go, great shot. And he goes, that was terrible. And I go, dude, it's 125 yards down the middle. What do you expect? And he goes, it's not on the green. And I go, it's 200 yards. You can't get it on the green. He goes, well, that doesn't help. And I go, I can't dunk a basketball, and I'm very at peace with it. I don't know how many 7-year-olds are hitting the ball 200 yards. We got to settle down here with the expectations, boy.
Well, that drive will make him a better player and a better athlete, though, to demand that of yourself.
I would
It'll pay
think,
off for
I'd
him.
like to think, though, when he plays in scrambles as he grows up, that he realizes that, with all due respect, they're a manual stimulation session.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, and it's like,
By all means, tell them that,
yeah.
and then have mom explain it.
Absolutely.
Dad just said, "Well, that's Dad."
It matters, Tim. That's
Oh.
from the Gene Steck-Schulte's Wicked Slide piece. Gene Steck-Schulte on board with my 7-year-old, who was very irritated. And we got to the 18th tee and we were 5 strokes behind. He goes, "There's no way we can win." I said, "Well, if we get a hole-in-one from 400 yards and Jackson's team gets a 7,
Mhm.
we will win." So the rare triple bogey in a scramble did not occur, and Jackson's pairing struck us down, but we covered the 5.5.
Okay.
And because of that, Jackson's been given the day off to celebrate. He was out late with bottle service, and he is not here today.
That's correct. Vacationing for, I think it might be Private Citizen Pete's wedding. Jackson was heading straight from here to St. Gabriel's. How about that? It always goes back
Oh,
to St.
gosh.
Gabriel's.
Is that like the only school and church in town? Is that it? It's the only one?
I think it's one of 2, I believe.
Oh,
Immaculate Conception in Darden Prairie, Martin. I think that's the largest parish, I believe, by the numbers. I think that's it. Maybe it's St. Joseph in Cottleville. Hell, I don't know.
No, I don't
I'm
know.
St. Gabriel through and through. That's all that
Okay,
matters to me,
yeah.
minus the fact that I'm not in the parish anymore.
Other than that,
But you do continue to go to the grade school picnics.
That's correct.
okay.
You better believe it. Why
Mark-
wouldn't I?
I need a good North County parish, Catholic parish reference, so that we balance it out, because we are kind of
St. Ferdinand.
Ferdinand's, yeah.
okay. We're tilted a little bit to the
Mhm.
south, and I want a north side represent. Oh, Chairman Kurt not allowing it. To all of our Jeffco friends, JR, Jeremy Rutherford, Pestis. We're happy to be nestled in Jefferson County. Yesterday, Brian Kunderman, who is Dish, I believe.
Yes, he is a dish.
Sports Information Director at St. Louis U, was sending me a note about an event going on today. He said, "Unless you're down in my neck of the woods off the air again." And I said, "Oh,
Wow.
man, unfortunate."
Wow.
Not-
St. Louis University taking shots at the
Taking shots.
presentation. Wow, we're getting a lot of North County parish texts. Martin, you've.
Oh, that's Chairman.
Chairman Kirk.
Strick and I would do a show. I forget, Tim. There's been so many bad stations and shows that I've been on, but Andy Strickland and I would do a show, and he stole this from one of the FM stations, and they would say, "Hottest high school, call in," and they would load the phone lines, and people would just call and say, "Hottest high school," and they'd say, "Sumner," and then they'd hang up. "Hottest high school, McClure," then they'd hang up. So we did that a couple of times, and people called it hottest high school. We've taken it down to hottest Catholic grade school.
Yeah, I think that's casting a wider net.
And by hottest, what are you meaning when you say
Like-
hottest high school?
Like they're on fire. They're just doing great things in
Oh.
life, Doug.
Okay.
Not exactly. It's not like the mascot conversation where they actually were talking sexy mascots.
Right.
This is hottest high school.
okay.
Let's see. St. Ferdinand, I've got in my top. Larry Nickel, if you would, top 5.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have.
Top 4 North County Catholic parishes. Okay, carry on.
Sharon in Clayton has given the official answer, apparently. How about Lords in Clayton? Means nothing to me, but the neighbors seem to think it's the bee's knees. Doug, that's the star of the
Okay.
Real Housewives of
Right.
TMA, Sharon in Clayton.
Okay, that's not exactly North County,
I don't
which
think
was
that
the
would
permanent.
necessarily
But Lourdes is a
be-
wonderful parish, right there on. Is that Forsyth, Doug? It's right there.
I don't know the street.
Yeah.
Marquette High School, baby. That's from It's Your Boy Fuzz.
Okay.
I think that's the largest high school in the area
There.
in terms of enrollment. It used to be a year or two ago. It was.
That's where my wife went.
Yeah. So it's a hot high school.
No, I just went slumming with the public.
Oh, yeah.
Lindbergh had a graduation. I think it was like over 600 kids. They have it at the
Mhm.
Chaffetz. You think about every kid has what, 5 or 6 family members. You're talking like thousands of people
Mhm.
showing up at graduation. They got the Chaffetz.
Well, when I was a kid, Lindbergh had so many kids, they went in 2 shifts. They had over 4,000 kids. at that
Holy
school.
crap.
God.
They'd start them early in the morning, go to about noon, and then bring in another shift after that.
Please hold your applause until all the names have been read. First name, Andy Anderson. Woo! First name.
Tim, how many defibrillators did you guys have on site yesterday? My God, I think I have diabetes just from listening to that lineup of food. Those sweaty heavies had to be in hog heaven yesterday. That's some little Tommy Tribbins Martin, a 5-year-old who rides a trike around the parking lot
Let's see him.
at 101 ESPN.
I ate 3 times here. I had donuts in the morning, then I had the Lee's chicken tendies at lunch, and then I had the Texas Roadhouse pulled pork for dinner.
You were
I
handsomely
jammed-
rewarded.
I really was.
I witnessed Doug. He was pounding a donut, and I said, "Whoa, the
Yeah.
nutrition Nazi!"
Mhm.
When donut drive-ins in the house, you got. Tim, I ate 3. I just
Did
gotta
you
tell
really? I had one yesterday. I entered it in my Fitness Pal because again I'm insane and I track everything I eat and all the sleep and it's just insanity and I recognize it. But you're welcome to text in and attack it. And I entered in the cinnamon twist. I enjoyed, Doug,
Oh, that's what I-
450 calories.
Oh, really? Just a one?
How
And
much?
45 carbohydrates just right out of the gate. So when I have a couple today, I'll know what I'm getting myself into. But hey, it's a delicious treat. And at the Dotem, you know what, Doug? You celebrate. That's what you do. You
Yeah.
celebrate the festivities. Today is a beautiful day. It's a hell of a golf course. Tip of the cap to Grant and Sorkis. There they are. This is a great place, man. I'm telling you. And Doug, what do we have today? We've got some additional fun and games.
Right. Sorkis and Grant Kelly and Pat Long are donating dinner for 2 at Sam's Steakhouse. They're going to have a drawing.
How about that?
The cart girls are going to give away little tickets, and they'll draw names or the numbers.
Doug, are
when
you
it's
one of the
all
card
over.
girls?
I'm not. And also, they're donating a 2-night stay at the lodge out here, the Zion
Yeah.
House at Oak Valley. It's a 5-bedroom, 4.5-bath house with a full kitchen, great for bachelor parties or a weekend of golf with the pals. They're donating both that, and we'll have that drawing when the tournament's over.
How about that?
Yeah.
Doug, you are handling the awards today. I handled
Okay.
them last night, and it was great. I mean, it really was. I mean, listen, I'm not selling a damn thing. I'm just telling you. If it sucked, I just wouldn't say anything. That's the tell. But it was a great day. I had a super fun time. Great to see so many listeners. And the facility here post round is perfect. You know, they have this banquet center here, and then the bar, and that's where everybody gathered. Bunch of people were here all the way until I don't know what time we left, like 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was outstanding. So looking forward today with I think even a better forecast.
Carson and I were out back just checking out the facilities, and I said, "There's the Mississippi right there, pal." I said, "You know, we could roll on that down to New Orleans."
Yep.
He said, "Why would we do that?" I just said, "Well, we could."
Reasonable question.
I just said we could. I didn't say we would. I'm not Jim White. I'm not getting on a boat cruising to New Orleans, but we could. Beautiful view here. You're up on the bluffs.
Stop in Memphis somewhere. Well, as I understand it, the new ownership group took over here in January, making a lot of improvements, and they're still working on it. But boy, it's a whole lot better than it was, and it's going to be a great place here when they really get it done just exactly the way they want it done. Indoors is perfect. Really, really a nice facility.
Met Al in Dadeville.
Yes, what a delight.
He's the Georgia guy.
Yep.
And then met the Pope. And today we have
Pope can roll the rock.
We have added seating. We have 4 chairs
Yep.
assembled in front of us instead of yesterday's 2, which looked like a reenactment of a
Basic
Few
Instinct?
Good Men.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like a courtroom setting. And now we have 4 chairs. If you'd like to join us when you arrive, take a seat.
Yeah, come on out to the festivities if you are in the Jeffco area. We're trying to get past this here. You can come on out. We are at Oak Valley, and that is where day 2 of the Dotem is taking place. A beautiful morning in the St. Louis area. We are live from Oak Valley in Peevely. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Doty on the 1s and 2s. Chairman Kurt back at the studios at 101 ESPN. The program is called TMA. It airs on 101 ESPN, the TMA STL YouTube channel. It's presented by Brown and Crouppen. This is 101 ESPN.
afraid to hit in the big games. He's not afraid of the spotlight. Ryan Ludwig, he can play center field.
He'd probably love to have a copy of this.
Ryan Ludwig?
Yeah.
With the organization. It's TMA 101 ESPN, the show broadcasting from Oak Valley for the Dotem. The Dotem presented to you by Michelob Ultra, our charity partner, the St. Louis Hero Network, and we are expecting a beautiful day here in Peevely, Missouri, and they're expecting a beautiful day tomorrow for Brian McKenna Day on the south side, which will take place from 2 to 7 p.m. in between Devonshire and Nottingham on Mackland. I think that is going to be a pony. Couple of pieces of news and notes. Martin, you like logistics, I believe? Is that what
logistics and housekeeping?
All right, we got a couple moments here on logistics and housekeeping. A listener was here, and I didn't know, I just saw a gentleman watching the program, and during the commercial break, he came over, handed us a $50 bill, and said, hey, I can't play in the tournament, but I wanted to donate to the cause of the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of Brian McKenna. And so, Doug, how about that? He came here early to hand us a $50 bill, which we will give to the people from St. Louis Hero Network.
That's above and beyond the call right there.
You better believe it.
Yeah, very nice.
So tip of the cap, once again, to the many listeners who are super kind. And then, Martin, as you've learned, there are some who are not. And Doty was making the observation. I don't know if this was in the text inbox or in the YouTube chat. The broadcast, somebody said the broadcast is going off flawlessly today. Not a good look for the pale one.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Indicating that when he's not here, it goes smoothly.
Yep.
And yesterday we had a rough patch. So it's pretty much on him.
And I have to say, when things go sideways, there's not a lot we can do. We're not very technically inclined, this group. So when things go wrong, I see Jackson just sort of melt down. He's so upset.
Mm-hmm.
He's so stressed.
To his credit, he's aware enough to do it away from the camera. So yesterday, I know people can't see what I'm talking about.
He does step about 10 feet away.
There were some steps about, 50 feet away from where we're sitting and a parking lot. And I saw him over there while we were doing the show, and I saw some forceful hand gestures while he was on the phone, and then he goes behind the camera and he puts his head down. I mean, Doug, God bless the boy. He couldn't care anymore. And then meanwhile, we all just take the hell.
I mean, he does walk around like he just gave up a walk-off homer to end the season. And then he comes back, plows ahead, puts on the headset, and Licks comes after him, and he just says, go kick rocks. I'm like, that's the right response. And of all the issues we had at times yesterday, somehow Licks was still able to call in.
He was able to come
Somehow
through.
that still happened.
You can call in, although Chairman Kurt, I don't know how easy it'll be for you to run the board and take calls. 314-974-0101, Collier and Thompson phone lines. You can text in. Air Comfort Service, text inbox 314-399-9646. Got a chance to meet one of the owners of Air Comfort Service yesterday, who was playing in day one of the Dotem. Day two will get underway at 10:30. Doug, you going to hit celebrity shots again and just snuggle in? What you were hitting a 54 degree into that 114-yard pin, and you would land it long and then allow that sauce to let it trundle back and then oscillate within 2 feet of the cup.
Exactly what I did. I guess we'll offer to hit shots for him today on the 12th hole.
Nice. Celebrity shot.
Use it if you want. Don't use it if you don't want. Mark Hanna and Greg Vaughn will be out there.
The last time I had seen Doug's, have you met Doug's son, Greg, Martin?
I met him yesterday briefly.
Great kid, even though he's what, in his
29.
29. Can you call somebody a kid when they're 29? I guess I just called Jackson a kid when
if you're an athlete, you're getting old.
I think Doug and I are calling people in their 40s kids.
But Greg's a great guy, and I've played golf with him a few times. And usually his index has been, I feel like, double digits. And we were just BSing while we were at the hole yesterday. And I go, where's your index now? And he's down to a 6. And that's what happens when you live in Tampa and you get to play year round at some wonderful golf courses.
Did he fly in just for the Dotem?
I mean, that's what patrons from all over the country have done.
And he works with Mark Hanna too. So he comes in and spend some time at the office there.
Doug,
and
it
does the
sounded
Dotem.
better if he came in just for
Well,
the tournament.
it's kind of true. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. It's the only reason he did. Yeah.
Feels like there are a lot of private jets over Koke, Tim, just in and
exactly
out,
right.
in and out for the tournament.
Yeah, it looks like the waste management in Scottsdale. Best Jackson remote meltdown was when he told Iggy, "Listen, dude." That's from the Hunchback of Vaughn Castle. The 830 Recreator says Greg Vaughn is a stud. Does the 830 Recreator and Greg Vaughn have some kind of history?
Oh, boy.
I don't believe they have any kind of history at all. No.
When is it okay to kiss a guy?
No, we're not
No.
going there.
I don't know. Kurt's at the controls.
Yeah,
This could be an absolute
we're on
drop
remote.
fest.
Yeah. Chairman, are you able to communicate with us? I don't know what the situation is. I guess I'm putting you on the spot.
He's kind of doing the Stephen Hawking thing now. He's speaking through a voice bot. He's just hitting sounders.
Good morning, boys.
There he is.
Hey,
and
the
he
chairman.
sounds good too.
I got a drop for Doug.
Oh,
What's that?
Swung on a pop foul back here. Ow! It really hit me.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I don't know why I get such a kick out of someone being injured while calling the play-by-play, but I do.
Puck is dropped and it's 4-0 in the opening period.
With the age of some of these baseball announcers, it could be really bad.
You're
'Cause
gonna need a glove in the booth.
Well,
That would solve it, wouldn't it?
there are a lot of announcers baseball that are in their 70s, and they keep doing it when they're 80. And I'm guessing their reflexes aren't what they used to be.
Probably not. Harry Carey famously used to have a net that he
Yeah,
would drape down
good.
from the booth and catch foul balls. That you could use that to protect yourself too.
In
Jody,
the opening period.
Jody Davis. He would just sing about Jody Davis.
He did.
That's when you know you don't really have a boss. You just do whatever the hell you want.
Just so I make sure I bring my A game today, is there a grand prize of non-operational fleshlights again? That's from Carlos Spicy Winner. I do believe we gave away some fleshlights for one of the years. Those were sent to Iggy's apartment, I believe, by Lisa Ann. And unfortunately, Doug, they got sideways.
Mhm.
But she sent them to him. There were supposed to be 4. And Iggy showed up at the golf course with only 3, and then that led to some Martin accusations
Mhm.
that maybe Ken had kept one for himself.
Oh.
And I want to make it clear those are allegations. And I don't know if Iggy is in the YouTube chat to defend himself.
Tim, are you taking questions?
I am taking questions. Doug is not.
No.
And I know I'm the whitest, nerdiest guy ever. But who is Lisa Ann? Because I know she.
Oh wow! What a treat.
Now I know she was on the show a bunch and did football picks,
Yes.
but was also a porn star. Is that accurate?
So for Jackson's generation, she would be considered the most well-known adult star. For my generation, I would think it's Jenna Jameson. So both of these names kind of crossed over into mainstream. But then when Lisa Ann retired from adult, she started doing fantasy football on Sirius
Natural
XM.
progression.
That's the natural step. And
that's how Mel Kiper got started.
it is. I think it might be. So so the Sea Monster. You ever meet the Sea Monster?
Absolutely.
Okay. Great producer.
Sat next to him at Brian Hoffman's wedding.
There, Brian Huffman. And Sea Monster, I mean, truly, like Jackson's just this great guy who works his ass off, but he's not like a radio producer.
Not classically trained.
Exactly right. Sea Monster worked his ass off also. I mean, he produced 2 shows, for God's sakes, and also was the executive producer at 920. He was outstanding, but he also was a classically trained producer who would get us ridiculous guests. When me and Edmonds were doing the show, we would get these guests, and certainly it was former ball players who knew Edmonds, and that's why they would come on, but Sea Monster had their numbers. Anyway, he sets Lisa Ann up with the show because she would do a radio tour, and she comes on, and I mean, she knew more about the NFL and fantasy football than all of us combined. Didn't you think?
Oh gosh, yeah.
And then she kind of
completely plugged into it.
Or there's a high bar.
Yeah, I agree. There's a little more.
She knew more than
player in the league.
And then she'd break out the stats and go, what the hell? What is she doing? But she made so much money, and one of her big things, and it's the reason why I actually would make sure that going back to, I think, 2010, my company owns the IP of TMA inside STL. And I had seen her in an interview on Stern, but I didn't know it was her, saying the thing that's so important for girls in the industry to do is to own their IP. And so I own my own pornography, this show. And I actually learned it from her. She would come in and come to the Dotem just out of the kindness of her heart. When Jay Randolph Jr. passed away, she came to St. Louis on her own dime and traveled to Jamaica with us. Jackson actually shared a bed with her.
So I've heard that story. I just never knew the whole connection here.
So she was just coming because Iggy wouldn't come to Jamaica. I don't recall the reasoning. Do you?
He didn't want to share a room.
He thought.
Thank you, Chairman. Boy, I was looking at Doug, and then I heard Chairman's voice giving, I guess, the accurate answer.
He also thought the bus ride from the airport to the resort was too long because we were only going to be there 3 days, and he didn't want a 2-hour bus ride.
Oh, Iggy, I love you, but you are a princess.
And so Lisa Ann, I told her the situation. She goes, "Would you go, Iggy, if I came down there?" And I guess that made it happen. I guess I don't recall the details. I imagine Buck Swope can let me know. And then that way Jackson would share a room with Lisa Ann. Iggy would have his own room. It wound up being that Jackson shared a bed with Lisa Ann. But when they got there, she built a fort to a demarcation line.
A pillow border.
Yeah, like a pillow border. Thank you.
The DMZ was in the middle there.
That's correct. And then she got to witness Jackson sleeping face down.
Face
The
into
hellhawk
the pillow.
is stacked.
I've never asked for a video of another man sleeping, but I think I'd like to see what that looks like.
Wouldn't you think he's dead if you walked
Yes.
into the room?
Shake him. Are you okay? I'm sleeping, face down in a pillow.
How does a man breathe?
Yeah. So Lisa Ann.
So she became a friend of the
she
show.
and she has been to this tournament. How many times do you think? 3 years? You think?
Yeah, that's about right.
And she would come into St. Like I said, when Jay passed away. I mean, she came into town to visit Jay when he was, really sick, and then he wound up passing away. And she flew in for the event that we were celebrating his life. So it became a friend of the program. And I think for some, and I understand it, I'm not trying to tell people how to view things, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to change any minds anyway. I don't care. But who are going, oh, all people who are sex workers are awful people and they're terrible and we can't be associated with them. And then they would meet her and go, God, she's like kind and a successful businesswoman. Maybe the dogma isn't necessarily accurate. So she became a friend of the show and did a number of things out of the kindness of her heart, and also super knowledgeable on fantasy football. But if you want to see her in Who's Nailin' Palin, that's available too. So it's just a matter of, Martin, what you're interested
So you can watch that and then find out who the Browns quarterback will be.
That's exactly right.
That.
Do I go with Flacco? I don't know. Shadur's on the roster. Hell. So yeah, that's it. That's what she brought to the table.
All right. What season is that? Because I think I'm at about season 12.
Yeah, that's season 14. So you're
okay.
You're coming
something
up
to look
on,
forward
that's
to.
That's something. Sharon's Ladue Pool Boy asks, so what happened? My buddies in a group text actually last night were asking that. And this involves Iggy. Iggy, I'm sure, has his own. Is he in the YouTube chat this morning? I don't see him in there. So what happened? Brianna Coppage, who was the OnlyFans teacher. This was probably covered on the 2 Fox, actually. I don't know if it was a Sports Final vehicle. But she was outed as an OnlyFans model and was a teacher in, I think, St. Clair County.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Right.
And she came on and told her story on our show. The New York Times, New York Post picked up the interview, ran it because it was a huge story. This is probably 2 years ago. Iggy said he could possibly help her out in her career.
Just out of the kindness of his heart. No other ulterior motive, of course.
Reached out to Lisa Ann to see if she could help out. And Lisa Ann, I believe, this is a paraphrasing, and I think the audience might know the story better than me. But for those who aren't familiar with the show and the show's history, who are 101 ESPN listeners, Lisa Ann, I think, was really in the middle of something that day and got this text from Iggy about helping out, somebody she didn't know. And she told Iggy she was busy and kind of gave him the what's what and the who's who over text, I believe. I think Iggy was a little irritated and didn't respond to the text. So the next morning, Lisa Ann was doing her standard fantasy football hit with us. And as opposed to just doing the fantasy football hit, she took the first 10 minutes or so of the fantasy football hit to really lay into Ken.
He was berated.
He was. Somehow Doug and I were blamed for it, as is per usual. And then when Lisa Ann went to a Matt Rife, I don't know if you're familiar with it, the comedy stylings of Matt Rife, Martin, I don't know, I think he's around 30, and he was doing a comedy show at Radio City Music Hall. Lisa Ann, I guess, was talking during it, and security escorted her out. And that became a big story in the New York Post because you got an adult star, Matt Rife, the whole thing. And then Iggy was critical of that on social media. And then Lisa Ann said, I can no longer be associated with the show if a member of the show is kicking me while I'm down. And because this has been a really difficult time for me. And that is essentially, I believe,
that was the end of
the summary. Now, I still text with her, and I was thinking about asking her if she wanted to come back here, but
kind of like your Barry Bonds interview.
Yes,
the second
that's
time
actually
around,
what I was thinking.
You're like, do I ask, not ask?
Yeah, because she was texting me like 2 months ago. Just she was in a really good place and just saying, I miss you. How she's asking about my, she got to know my wife because the Plowboy brought his now fiance down to Jamaica. I don't think anybody else. Greg went down. Greg Vaughn went down to Jamaica, and we're just sitting down there, and I'm like, we're just BSing. We're just BSing about life and business and all that crap. And you would talk with her about politics, and you're going, oh yeah, we're talking with one of the most famous adult stars in the world, but she's just like a buddy. I don't even view her in that lens. So also, unfortunately, I can't watch her material anymore. I don't know what happens. Once I realize somebody's a human being, I can't watch their stag films. It's something I'm working through with my therapist.
Before that, you didn't think they were human.
That's correct. That's got some kind of droids. Well,
I imagine this has been very educational for me. This will save me a little.
You can maybe fast forward through the season.
When it comes to porn, I'm never going to fail.
Oh, quite a thing to have on your resume.
Candy, you are a delight. I found out from Coach Kornfeld the other day that Iggy had a brother named Skippy.
That's right.
And I'm like, wow, the names in the family. This is fascinating. Iggy and Skippy.
You're welcome to get involved on the program. 211 friends are gathered and watching at youtube.com/TMASTL. We are at Oak Valley for the Dotem. And you are also welcome to text in. Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. The Dotem partnering this week and this year with the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of Brian McKenna, who passed away in March. Bob Ramsey making the trip to join us here in the 8 o'clock hour. Looking forward to talking it over with Rammer. I haven't seen him in a while. I guess you worked with him at KTRS. You guys overlapped.
We kind of overlapped a little bit. In fact, I was at Westport Plaza last night. I ran into Rammer, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to be with you tomorrow." And I hadn't seen.
How about that?
I hadn't run into him in a long time. But yeah, I'm trying to think of different. We've probably worked at 590 at the same time. Overlapped at the big 550. Yeah, a long time. I think he's pushing 40 years as the Billikens.
Is that right?
Announcer. I would think we're getting close to that. Gets banty with those referees.
I love listening to Bob Ramsey call Billiken games.
Oh, he's great. He's really fantastic.
Don't come over here, Zebra. No. I'm on the air. I enjoy a good zebra confrontation by Rammer.
Yeah, and they do seem to happen. That's wonderful. But he worked with McKenna at KSP, which we were talking about a little earlier on. And so he will be telling some stories, and I'm sure it will be a good, entertaining conversation with Rammer, who is so kind to drive here and join us for the festivities. The program is called The Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. We are on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. And you can email in also for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. The Morning After at InsideSTL.com. Design Air is online at DesignAirService.com. That's Seth Goldcamp. Martin's a client. Doug's a client. I'm a client. They're the longest running sponsor on the show, going back a decade. And I can't recommend Design Air Heating and Cooling enough. It's so nice to know that when the weather warms up and you have an issue with your air conditioning, all you have to do is go to DesignAirService.com. And you're going to work with a staff that, number one, you can count on to be out there as quickly as possible. When I say as quickly as possible, oftentimes same day. And then on top of it, whereas sometimes somebody's going to come out there, they fix it, and then they're instructed to go, hey, while you're out there at the people's house, make sure you sell them on locking into some kind of long-term program. We get a little recurring revenue, and then the world is happy. And I understand that, and I respect it. But that is one of the tenets of Design Air Heating and Cooling. No upselling. They're going to fix it, and they're going to earn their business with you through taking care of it and knowing that you can count on them without some kind of awkward upsell at the end. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling, online at designairservice.com. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Chairman Kurt is back at the world headquarters. Doty's on the ones and twos here at Oak Valley. It's TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
101.
Stanley Cup Finals are set. The Edmonton Oilers took care of the Dallas Stars last night, 4-1 in the Western Conference Finals, and they await the Oh, who do they got? The Florida Panthers. We got a rematch.
Oh, no.
That'll start next week on Wednesday. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See him at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
TMA is broadcasting live from Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort for the Dotem Golf Tournament. Refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
He's the greatest. He's the whiz. Nobody was better or currently is. He was the man back in the day when players took pride in their defensive play.
I really enjoyed these.
Yeah, these are very nice.
All right,
Very well done.
TMA 101 ESPN, the TMA STL YouTube channel. Beautiful day at Oak Valley Golf Course for day 2 of the Dotem, which is presented to you by Michelob Ultra and our charity partner, the St. Louis Hero Network, in honor of the late Brian McKenna. Bob Ramsey is going to be joining us coming up on the Stiefel dossier. Doug, would you like a Sadie Hawkins? I got a few things for you, and I think you're going to enjoy them.
All right. I'd like to hear it.
The Stanley Cup final is set. You called this a
Mhm.
couple weeks ago that it looks like it's going to be a rematch. However, something that the Oilers did last night did not delight their fans.
Well, it sounds funny. What was it?
Well, I mean, that's the tease.
Okay.
There was an unfortunate exchange with a gentleman who's becoming more and more well-known, Brian Henshin's cohort, following the Pacers' loss to the Knicks. Jackson's vacationing today, but if he were here, I would turn to him and I go, didn't the Knicks seem like a 5-star play last night? They were only -4.5. It just struck me as it was kind of obvious they were going to ship that one.
At home, facing elimination.
Yeah. You don't have to be an NBA guy.
I would have picked the Knicks to win easily
I
last
love
night.
that, and they were able to pull away in the third quarter and force a game 6. But there was an unfortunate exchange with an Indianapolis Star Tribune columnist and one of the Pacers. We have that, and then Katie Wu. You know Katie Wu.
Woo, woo, woo. Katie Wu.
Has a column that just popped up on The Athletic this morning.
Okay.
How Ali Marmol balances development and playing time during the Cardinals' torrid May. Those are the 3 topics for this morning's Sadie Hawkins here on 101 ESPN.
Okay. Let's start with the Oilers. I
All
watched
right.
that game last night. I can't imagine what their fans would be upset about.
Chairman Kurt, I sent you this audio about 5 in the morning today. Are you good to go, sir?
You got it.
All right. So following the win last night.
Gentleman's sweep.
It was a gentleman's sweep.
Mhm.
I would have never thought that, by the way. I
No.
mean, I could have seen the Oilers winning, but winning in 5, tip of the cap.
Third straight year, the Stars were knocked out in the conference final.
Brutal.
Got
That's
off to a
brutal.
rough start at home, gave up 2 kind of soft, well, I wouldn't call them soft goals.
No,
but they
DeBoer pulled Ottinger.
were, yeah, they were
I
right
would've-
in front of him,
I
though.
think I would have put him back in once things settled down
Yeah.
because he is an elite goaltender. And even though he was terrible at the beginning, and I know that's a second guess, but they got it to 3-1. I said, oh, once it's a 2-goal game, here we go.
But they beat him with shots from 3 feet away.
Yeah.
It's not like he gave up soft goals. They were just right in front of him.
Well, I thought the Oilers were going to blow the lead, and then we were going to have that narrative again. They just can't play D. But in the end, Tim, what did we have?
Connor McDavid and the Oilers decided to touch the conference. Is that the Campbell Trophy, I believe?
I believe
If I'm not
Campbell
mistaken?
Cup.
It's one of those things that is a superstition.
Because they take a picture, I think, a team picture.
Yes.
Once you win the conference.
And the Blues did that, of course, after they beat the Sharks in Game 6. Pete DeBoer on the receiving end of that one as well.
Mhm.
Don't go to a Game 7 with Pete DeBoer, though. And they
Get him
got
early.
Yeah, get him early, and they did. And this year, they decided to really caress that trophy.
Oh, did they?
And McDavid was asked about it following the win.
There's a lot of superstition in hockey. Last year, you haven't touched the trophy after the Western Final. This year, you decided to touch it. Was it maybe to change the story? What was the main reason why you changed your mind?
Pretty obvious, I think. Don't touch it last year, don't win. Touch it this year, hopefully we win. You know? Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's the story.
Doug, it's all worth it for the horn. It's all
Oh,
worth it. I kind of agree with them because last year they tried to go with the superstition, didn't work. So why not try and
Mhm.
reverse the jinx? rather short clip, but I love the horn.
So the Nonling, former intern and producer on this program, as I was driving down 55, making my way here to Oak Valley, they had a watch party at the Oilers building. Doug, what is the Oilers building? Rogers Place, I think.
I believe that's right.
And there is this is more of a visual, so I'm going to just have to describe it. There is an audible gasp of absolute horror at Rogers Arena in Edmonton when McDavid, they put their hands in their head like the surrender cobra when they see him touch the trophy. They're beside themselves in Edmonton that he touched the trophy, and they feel like they are now doomed because he touched the trophy. And for the record, this is the Panthers' third straight year. 2 years ago, friend of the program, son, Keith Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, is it the Prince of Wales Trophy in the Eastern Conference? I think it is.
Because they lost to Vegas 2 years ago.
Didn't touch it last year, and they hoisted the chalice.
So he did touch it 2 years ago, and they lost. But it's all about the reverse. So I think McDavid, I'm on to it. I think it's okay. Did they have a shot of Hillary in the Situation Room? She looked. She had the look of horror.
You just say that to Doug, and he moans. The shot in Edmonton. It's on the Twitter tweets. I mean, the reaction. They're on a high. They're going back to the Cup final. Canada's going to have another chance to win the Stanley Cup for the first time in 3+ decades. And then the moment McDavid touches the trophy, all hell breaks loose.
This I can touch this trophy, I can't touch this one is, of course, all nonsense. It's the reaction to it that's a bigger problem than touching the trophy. When you react that way, you're sending the message, now we're doomed, and it gets into your head. Touching a trophy has not one damn thing to do with how you're going to play hockey the next night. Nothing to do with it.
Now, they brought the cup through St. Louis, I think, during the first round in 2019. We're doing a radio remote. Bob Wallace and I, former Big Red and Rams executive,
in studio with us a few months ago.
We took a picture with the cup, and I think we might have had our hand touching it. So we tweeted it out, and Caruso texted and said,
generous executive Mike
Caruso, who's always banty, texted and said, tell me you MFers didn't touch the thing. I'm like, I'm not on the team.
No, that's for
I've
players.
Never played hockey. I have no bearing on this at all. And I said, I think we touched it. And then they won the cup. So it's probably our fault we haven't repeated that in the last 6 years.
Good for you for taking responsibility. Doug, you'll be happy to know that there's data on whether or not a team touches these conference trophies. And how they perform.
Okay.
Of the 16 teams that did not touch the bowl in the previous 18 seasons, 9 went on to win the Stanley Cup. Most recently, Vegas in 2023. When Edmonton made the Stanley Cup final in 2006, friend of the program and reality show host Chris Pronger, part of that squad, Captain Jason Smith did not touch the trophy, and the Oilers lost in 7 games to the Carolina Hurricanes. In 2020, 2021, the Canadiens did not touch it, but they lost to the Lightning in 5 games in the final. The Canadiens, who normally play in the Eastern Conference, were awarded the bowl after defeating the Golden Knights in what was called the Stanley Cup semifinals because of the temporary divisional realignment because of COVID.
Okay. This is all fairy tale type stuff. It's one thing for a player on a team trying to win the Stanley Cup to not touch the Stanley Cup before you win it. I kind of get it. There's some tradition there. But when you plant in your head that, oh my God, I touched something, so now I can't play, I stepped on a chalk line, whatever superstition, it's utter nonsense. You have to get past that kind of thing if you're going to be mentally strong, because it is nonsense in capital letters.
So if the Blues had a team here at the Dotem, and at the end we said, Benner, you guys are the lowest. Here is your Dotem trophy. He'd say, sorry, I cannot accept the trophy.
Cannot touch it.
Cannot touch it.
Because he's focused on the Lemmings. And
Shenner's kid wins the Pinewood Derby. I'm sorry, we cannot accept a trophy.
I don't
you
buy
can't
any of
touch
that.
a single trophy.
Doug says touching the trophy doesn't matter. Seconds later, Martin says touching the cup doesn't matter. That it's for the players. Does it matter or does it not matter, Doug? That's
Frank,
a Marsh's burner.
Frank, that's a question.
We cleared it up. Doug is a sissy.
I think that was a question directed at Cusimano. They wanted to know if it mattered. Clearly, that's what they were asking.
it's the reaction to it that matters. It's the planting it in your head that, I'm not going to compete at my best because I'm wearing the wrong underwear, or I touched a trophy, or I got up differently than I did yesterday. That's the nonsense.
Bob Ramsey
Hello,
is strolling in. What a treat.
Appalled at the conversation.
Yeah,
no doubt.
absolutely. Come on in. The water's warm. Walk right in. You know, this show has absolutely no schedule.
Where would you like to hear? At the top of the hour break. We have no traffic.
Yeah, we have no traffic
news.
or weather.
We have no weather.
Yeah.
All the way off and comment on the traffic.
We just had a
Jody, I'm handing him two and microphone.
Rammer is stepping aboard on number 2, headset number 2. Welcome in, everybody.
What do you say, fellas?
Oh, there he is.
What do you say, guys?
Hello again, everybody.
We're fine.
Thanks for coming down.
I almost broke bread with Doug. What was that, Sunday night? Saturday night?
So. Yeah, last week.
Yeah.
Oh, the mellow mushroom sighting.
That's right. Saw you last night.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a
I
while.
haven't seen you. That's what I was saying. I haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a while.
How is everyone?
We're all wonderful.
A lovely setting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a neat place out here.
It
Yeah.
really is. It's a hidden gem here. It's a hidden gem. How are things with you, man?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
I worked in Peevely 50 years ago, one summer.
Doing what?
I worked for, I don't even know if it's still there, a Pepsi distributor, Trio Distributing.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of the highway. And
You were slinging soda?
I was slinging soda for one summer.
Okay.
In college, yeah. So the trek to Peevely was still familiar after half a century.
It's a lovely little spot here, isn't it? I really enjoy the drive from when you enter the property up the hill to the clubhouse.
Past the lake.
I wondered where I was going. No breadcrumbs were left, so I was just meandering.
Just trusting the map. Bob Ramsey with us here on the program, and he's going to spend some time with us here as our charity partners, the St. Louis Hero Network, in honor of the late Brian McKenna. And I am sure you have some wonderful stories to share.
Well, I have a few. Brian, when we kind of started this sports thing back at 1380.
KASP.
Yeah, you were a child, Tim. You were just a child. And we all acted like children on that. And so, McKenna just showed up one day and said, I want to do this. And so we created a sort of a fake internship. Everything we did there was fake. But his, as you guys know, as most people in St. Louis who know anything about Brian, his ridiculous joke telling, his effervescence, his positive attitude, and he's such a great guy and so much fun that he just sort of 1380 and the sort of this sports community just sort of absorbed him.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. And then we got to be pretty close when we started doing ambush games together.
Oh, I didn't. Yes.
Yeah, into the mid 90s when 1380 folded, but really sort of evolved into 590. And we were located in Clayton and then eventually many other places. But and so we were doing ambush games, including, and my first year with them was the championship year in 95. And Brian was already there and established as the guy. And traveling with him and them was one of the highlights of my career.
Was he your analyst?
Yeah.
So you called the play-by-play because he had played college soccer at Quincy, right?
I believe
Lindbergh
that-
High, then Quincy in college. So
and
he played a lot of soccer.
And he was really good and knew what he was talking about, and I was neither. And the only reason I did it was because 590 had the rights, and our play-by-play guy, some people remember Rob Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
was doing
Dr. Football.
And he is, and now he's basically the guy in Memphis.
He is the guy with the big grizzly sideline guy, right?
And he has really carved out a great career for himself. Anyway, he left as we go back into the mid 90s. You guys remember when there were a number of those 24-hour network sports network deals, and he was able to get a gig in Las Vegas.
That's right.
He went out to Vegas, and so who's going to do the games?
They just absorbed you?
Yeah, and I said, well, okay. I go, I don't know anything about soccer. Yeah, so what? But fortunately, being there with McKenna and those ambush guys, most of them, Daryl Duran and Mark Moser and Joe Reiniger. And I mean, I go through the whole list, but it was such a fun experience. They didn't treat me like an outsider, and it was great. And so then, traveling with them and traveling with Brian, who made everything fun. There was the time, and I hope people will take this story in the spirit of which it's intended. We were getting ready for the playoffs against Milwaukee.
The Wave, Tim.
That's right.
That's right.
Nice.
Actually played at the Bradley Center, and that's no longer there.
Keith Tozer was the coach for about 30 years.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Tozer's name, because we were having fun with one of their equipment guys who was a silly guy. I think may have been on the spectrum, and we no ill intent, but a young man who would go out on the field and timeouts and things like that and do cartwheels and do crazy stuff. And Brian led the way, and of course I piggybacked on and sort of had fun with the gentleman on the air. Well, it got back to him, and the Wave were upset to the point where Tozer came up to the booth. And so, not that I'm much of a peacemaker anyway, but I say, all right, coach. And
more likely to throw a punch, McKenna or Rammer tied for first.
Well, had it been an official, I was listening.
Yes.
Had it been an official, it might have been different. And Brian indicated to him that, this was our booth and get the hell out of here. well, this is our, and Brian stood up.
Oh.
And when he stood up, things got interesting.
A little heated,
but Tozer backed down. And I, based on Brian's record, I think that Tozer made the right call.
And not a real big, and Tozer not a real big guy either, I don't think. Yeah. Not that it matters.
I don't really remember.
McKenna's record was 2-0 in media fights.
I wasn't going to get into it. I didn't have the book with me, but yeah.
Media fights.
And
what a glorious industry we're in.
And then there was the time.
The lawyers are fighting
right.
steps.
The time in Kansas City when there was a fight on the field and I'm losing my get and McKenna's hitting on the glass, and it was pretty crazy.
Did you get banty with soccer refs as well? Or are you that more of a basketball vehicle when you're right next to them?
To be honest, yes, I did, but it was a little bit more of a show because of, as you point out, you're a little more removed from it. But try to have a little.
Brian was a heck of a player, wasn't he? Like All-State at Lindbergh.
I think
he was a star.
He's Lindbergh HOF. I know that.
Yeah, but he never bragged. It's funny. All of us would brag, but he rarely even brought it up. No,
I know he was a great player.
Tim would mention in second grade he once hit a ground ball to third.
I did, because I never got around on the ball, so we still talked about one time I pulled it. That's
out at first by a mile, but he made contact.
They tried to get in your kitchen, and that's a mistake.
Yeah, thank you, Rammer. Bob Ramsey, kind enough to join us here at Oak Valley, where we are broadcasting live in advance of day 2 of the Dotem, presented to you by Michelob Ultra, partnering with the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of the late Brian McKenna. We enter the Fisher Window and Door Store 8 o'clock hour here on 101 ESPN. This is the Morning After, presented to you by Brown & Crouppen.
Live from Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort for the Dotem Golf Tournament, refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
Doug, did you request this?
This is on my playlist.
Remix.
For napping?
This is what puts Doug into REM sleep.
Right. Yeah.
About 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Dennis Miller calls it the happy hour of napping. About 2 o'clock, yeah.
I'm on board with that. I like that
You
a
like
lot
the 2 o'clock hour?
because I have to, for our show at 3, the Heidi Glaus show, about 2:30, I've got to go get a coffee, or there's no chance.
Is that right? Really?
There's no chance I get to 6 o'clock.
You would just doze right off?
Oh, yeah. You might hear the clunk of my head hitting
Oh,
the desk.
no.
Hitting the console.
I like how we now reference, if somebody like Bob does a show on 550, KTRS in the afternoon. It used to be so weird, like you couldn't mention even Monday Night Football. And the Chiefs will play Thursday on another network.
On another
network. It was so stupid because everybody knew, even the Super Bowl on a Sunday on Fox. And, of course, Super Bowl this year on another network. Like, nobody's going to find
I'll
out.
never listen to your station
Yes.
again because I'm going over there now.
Oh, my
It was
God.
a ridiculous dogmatic
Right.
practice, and I don't know why, and it changed about a decade ago.
Yeah, and you know what's great about it? And, well, I think it's great because I have fun doing it, but I don't know how it is for sports fans. But, you know, and you guys were leading up to this hour talking about working with different
He's being
people,
polite
different
about
places.
the first hour, Tim.
Yeah.
leading up to this hour.
Sounds like you're not going to replicate it later this afternoon.
Just the highlights, maybe.
Absolutely.
But that we've all of us have worked together or at the same place at multiple locations over the last 25 years, which I don't know if it's like that in other markets. It's like we've got our own little club, and it's really fun. And it doesn't matter where the other guys are working. There's not that animosity and all those kinds of things. We're just, because I think we realize, we're just talking sports sometimes on the show, and talking sports and hanging out, and everybody enjoys everybody's company, and it's really good.
Yeah,
R&R, Rammer and Randolph. Remember R&R?
Yeah, that's
It was a 590 vehicle.
That was a 590 vehicle. Yeah,
You
that's
and Jay.
right.
It was really fun. And one of the things, this is going back 25 years ago. Remember the television show Deadwood on HBO?
Sure.
Jay and I were fanatics and had multiple guests from that show. And
Was that a Ken Strode production? Because he loves Deadwood, and he always talks about his buddies
the
on.
Three of us, you know, Kenny was doing the producing, and we all loved it. And he worked his tail off getting those actors on. And we had
W. Earl Brown would be a guy who we talk about.
He was the man. What a great guest, a multiple time guest, and it was Deadwood Mondays. And so we just I think all of us, you know, and I think Clabe said it best, just show up and have a good time.
That's the name of the game, and common interests.
Yeah.
And then you form a relationship with the audience. How are you liking doing what you're doing now? You mentioned the Heidi Glaus show that's on KTRS 550.
You know, it's so different because especially when we were back in Clayton with Bob Birch, who was one of the great programmers.
My ex-brother-in-law.
Doug's ex-brother-in-law, Rammer.
I did not know that.
And, that's how small this town is.
Is Michelle Phillips your sister?
No, that was his first wife.
Oh, my mistake.
That would have been a wonderful topic for the Heidi Glaus show, as
would.
opposed to the 7 o'clock hour.
We're gonna need a grease board. I'm lost here. Doug.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the fact that people like us cannot hold down a job in another industry.
Well, we were talking about that.
We all have to work at other
That
stations.
is accurate,
come and go.
but you were referencing Bob Birch.
Oh
in
yeah,
Clayton.
Bob Birch.
Yeah.
And then
Wasn't he Doug's ex-brother-in-law? Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
And then Jason Barrett came to town, who ruffled a lot of feathers, including mine and maybe a couple other guys here. And but years later,
Come on already. This is nonsense.
There he was right there. The drops are quick on this show, Rammer. It's the only thing we got going for us.
But he was, I don't know if Martin will agree, as you step back years later, he was a hell of a programmer. You could learn a lot from him. But my point on all that was, we said hot takes, opinions. Now On this show, it's far more laid back, and quite frankly, we don't want opinions, and it's really different.
Yeah.
So I've been there a year now, and working with Heidi and Josh Gilbert, just two marvelous people. They make it fun, and it's really enjoyable and real different. My friends say, "Oh, what recipes are you talking about today? And what's going on Fashion Week in New York?" And I go, "Well, tune in, I'll tell you."
It's good for your brain to kind of mix it up a little bit. And Josh Gilbert, loyal listener of this program as well. Josh, one
He's
of
a
my
great
buddies,
guy.
great guy. Been there at the 550 for a long time.
Bob Ramsey, kind enough to join us here on site for the Dotem, and we're working with the St. Louis Hero Network, and that's in honor of Brian McKenna. The thing that stands out to me the most, I mean, we talk about the jokes, you talk about traveling with him for the ambush rammer. I had him on my podcast in 2019, and as I would imagine the vast majority of people know, he was battling cancer for a decade plus before he passed. But in that conversation, I asked, not knowing how he got involved with all of these charities. And the thing that was amazing to me, and the thing that I just have the utmost admiration for, is it's when he got sick is when he decided to become more charitable. That was what he felt like his calling was, as opposed to what I think I honestly would do. I'd be in woe is me mode. And he then became charitable, and he would do it out of the goodness of his heart. It wasn't necessarily something he would promote. He would just do it because he wanted to help, all while he was dealing with what was really obviously it was a decade-long battle.
Yeah, and really serious, very serious, and then complications, and it was a tough time. And I think it really tapped into a part of his personality that was there all along. He was really a selfless guy, and let's face it, because I had talked to him going back into the 90s, said, "You got to do TV." I mean, he was a handsome guy. But he was also a really loyal guy, but it's not what he wanted to do. And he always asked about other people. With a guy who seemingly had it all, there was no ego. There was really no ego. So I think when he got sick, I think that was kind of a natural thing for him to realize, there are more people than me going through this. And he would always, when I would talk to him after he got sick, was talk about people who had it worse off. And where we're thinking, oh my gosh, our buddy's really sick, it's terrible, and all these kinds of things. And he would never to other people talk about it. I think there were some times where he had emotional roller coasters a little bit, where it was really devastating and he'd get bad news, but he never complained to other people, including his friends. He'd just pull himself out of it by giving back to other people. And as you said, it became his calling.
Yeah. He said, I think one of the main reasons was he, for whatever reason, was getting treatment at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And he would see
immaturity, I think.
That was the reason.
He was a child.
Because psychologically,
diagnosed as a child.
Right.
He's looking at these kids who are dealing with, illnesses.
Yeah.
And he's going, I'm, in my 50s, I guess, and I've been able to live life. I've had a great life. These kids might not get that. I've got to have some perspective. And so that's what he did. He took it and then he started to give. It's just an amazing, amazing thing. And I want to highlight that when we talk about him, outside of the personality and the incredible amusement he provided.
Yeah. He really had it all, and it was devastating when he got sick, but it didn't, not only did it not, did it stop him from being a selfless guy, I think it enhanced that part of his personality to give back. And like you said, it became his calling, and he represented charities and nonprofits, multiple ones, and that's what he did, and worked his tail off in that regard.
And McKenna Day is this Saturday. That's tomorrow. Beautiful weather. It's going to be Macklin Avenue, which is just a block or so east of Hampton, runs parallel with Hampton. They're closing the street between Nottingham and Devonshire. You've got Max, Stan's, just South City kind of bars that Brian loved to hang out. They're going to have Biggie's Food and Pueblo Solis and New York Tom's food truck, all of these different food entities. Just a big old celebration from 2 to 7 p.m. on Saturday. That's tomorrow. It's McKenna Day, Friends of Brian. And I heard like a few weeks ago people, his girlfriend said, I hope people show up. I said, oh my gosh, I don't.
Are you kidding?
I think parking is going to be an issue.
I agree.
I think it's going to be a big old crowd. So if you want to celebrate the life of Brian McKenna, that is tomorrow from 2 to 7 on Mackland Avenue.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he's gone because he had a life force.
Yeah.
It was.
He was a presence.
He really was, and you love to be around him. So it'll be. I think everybody will tell great stories and enjoy it, but it'll be obviously tough too for a lot of us,
and especially tragic because it looked like maybe he was going to beat the cancer.
Yeah,
it looked like maybe he had beaten it. And then to die. The way he did.
He had talked about it ever since we first met. That he came from a huge family, and folks said, get outside and play, and they'd play outside all summer long, and he was fair complected for the most part, and so he had to check the skin cancer. I mean, going back into the 90s all the time. So it was devastating when it got really serious, but he was aware of having to check out the melanoma stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And he had his shirt off about half the time too.
Well, wouldn't we if we looked like that?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Rammer, who's a friend of this show is Coach Schertz. He has been a regular. I don't want you to be jealous or anything.
No, I have listened. He's great, isn't he?
He is so
great.
Good. You would talk about a down-to-earth guy. He's so good.
I don't want to overstate it to fans, but I think and it's only one season. And so, we're all results oriented in the world of sports, but personality wise and the way he approaches the game and coaching, and again, I know I'll get pushback, but he reminds me of a combination of Majerus and Spoonhour.
Wow. Great compliment.
The way he analyzes the game and is so detail oriented reminds you of Majerus, and his, personal touch, not just hanging out with guys like us, but the way he coaches. I don't go to every practice. I never hear him really raise his voice, really laid back, and reminds me of Spoon a little bit. And so if he can get the players in a crazy world of college athletics the way it is now, if he can get players, I think everything's going to be fine for as long as he wants to be here.
I want to get your perspective on this. And this, I realize I went to Missouri, but I remember meeting Gary Pinkel, and I thought, God, I don't know why, but I think there's something about this guy that if he gets it going, even though there will be other opportunities, he's going to stay here. And he did. He had an opportunity to go to Ann Arbor 6 years in after they had a great season. Josh Schertz had other opportunities.
Yes.
And he didn't even want to leave the small, was it Lincoln? Was that where he was? It was somewhere in Tennessee.
Lincoln Memorial. Before he went to
Indiana State.
Yeah.
I just get the sense that if he gets it going, he's going to want to stick around here and really build this thing and continue to build on that foundation. That's the vibe I get on him. You obviously know.
I think that is the vibe. And, whenever a coach, almost at any school, but certainly a mid-major, you win a big game against a big opponent, and immediately fans are going, how are we going to keep him? How are we going to keep him? But I just don't think you can worry about that and just enjoy the ride and see where it goes. But I think your feeling on that vibe, I think, is correct. He's really excited about the recruiting, which it's so much about the transfer portal now. But he emphasized to me, and I think you see it, he's not turning his back on high school players. And I think when that 5th and 6th year stuff, I think we're finally through that, all the COVID extra years. I think some of that's going to normalize a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I was kind of disappointed in there. I was so excited. And I know they had a lot of kids missing and they dealt with injuries. You know it better than I do.
Yeah.
I hope they get, because I think we all feel he is the right guy. I hope that the wins come, because I think Billiken fans are like, all right, we had it going just for a second there at the end of Majerus into Cruz. I hope that this coach with this great personality and this great mind, I hope it equals wins moving forward. That's
and again, there's no question in my mind, if you get the players, that will happen. It's no excuse making, because nobody cares. You got to win the games. You still got to play.
They did have a depleted roster. But
absolutely. When you lose, 2 starters and 2 guys out of your rotation, that's devastating to almost any team. And
that Friday VCU loss, we were both there. That was a kick to the nuts.
Oh,
that was,
really
oh
was.
my God.
Dayton was the they
Was it
beat,
the
they
Friday
beat
night?
VCU.
I'm sorry,
that was the night of the fight,
right?
And then they beat lost to Dayton on that
Yeah.
Friday.
The Friday
That
night.
was a fun
That's
game.
right.
Here's the thing about the injuries that you're bringing up and what you were talking about with the character and the
Yeah.
leadership. He would talk about it when we were in commercial breaks. He goes, I've been coaching for however long he's been coaching. And he goes, I've never experienced anything like this. And this was like in December, you know? But when he's talking to fans and on media, he wouldn't cite
No
it.
excuse.
You know what I mean? And I really respect that.
It was really frustrating. You know, some of the great news, and I don't know that we can say it's final news, but and I don't want to get too deep in it because it's personal and you're not supposed to. But Kellen Thames, if anybody remembers, was dominating the first 2 weeks of the season, and then got sick. And it seemed like it was going to be a devastating diagnosis, or was, and it was misdiagnosed. And there's real legitimate hope that Thames will be back playing minutes, heavy minutes. So first of all, for him as a human being, you're happy. Second of all, I mean, he was dominating on both ends of the floor. So that plus all the other players coming in, I'm really excited, looking forward. In fact, I can't wait to go to workout starting next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Kellen Thames, an absolute athlete, just a stud, great kid. And he just had the weird cramp. It was such a strange
full body
thing.
cramps.
Yeah, just a strange. If you ever heard of anything like that?
I had not. And finally, they again, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but they went to other specialists and things, and they think they have it all figured out, and it's not as devastating an outlook as it was even a couple of months ago.
Wow.
And I'm glad to hear you say the high school kids, because I'm sorry. When it's all, hey, this guy came from so-and-so state, and before that he was at Central State. And I'm like, can we get a few kids who've been here for a year? Like a Kellen Thames, local kid on the team. You see him advance, develop. I mean, I love that about Kobe Brown at Mizzou. Like he became really good, but as a freshman, like, hey, he's okay. So he's better. I love seeing that. I hope we don't lose that with everybody just one and done, in and out.
Yeah, that phrase that I was going to say it was trite, but it's been pretty accurate. When the players come and go, you really are just rooting for the laundry, right?
Yeah.
But when they're there 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're your guys.
Yeah, they're your guys.
They're
You
your
watch them
guys,
develop
and
and
it's
you
a lot
pull
more
for
fun
them.
for fans.
Bob Ramsey, kind enough to drive to Peevely here today for the Dotem. Great to talk with you, man.
It's really been fun. I appreciate you guys bringing me down because we all love Brian, and the tournament is fantastic. And as we talked about a moment ago, we're really looking forward to the celebration tomorrow. And I don't often get up early enough to listen. When I do, I go, yeah, they're still doing that. And,
man! I think that's a promo.
No, was it? Isn't that accurate?
Yeah, that thing's still on the air, and you wonder to yourself, how the hell is that still on the air?
Oh, they're the guys. I wondered where they were. Yeah, no, it's good.
Rammer, great to see you.
Thanks,
and thank you
guys.
for your kindness and coming down. That's the great Bob Ramsey, voice of the Billikens, and you can hear him on KTRS in the afternoon, the Heidi Glauser from 3 to 6 p.m. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. We are live from Oak Valley in Peevely, Missouri for Michelob Ultra's presentation of the Dotem as we partner with the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of the late, great Brian McKenna. We'll come back with more on the morning after. Presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
Golf Tournament, refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
Nurse, there I am. Doug, is this I Like the Way by I-5 from 1991?
I don't know the years, and I don't know who's doing it.
Is there a theme? Like Jackson always has a theme?
Do you have a theme, Chairman Kurt?
Baby making music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually at the Dotem, children are conceived.
I don't know that that's true.
Look it up.
It's TMA, and it's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen 101 ESPN, fresh off of a couple segments with Bob Ramsey. How great was that? I
Did
enjoyed that
Kwame
one.
Vayukas chime in? He's never happy.
Let me
We had some
see.
Billiken talk. By the way, Ramber did confirm he's going into his 40th season.
Is that right?
Calling Billiken basketball. You can hear him on KMOX as we pimp every station in town except our own.
He did Kwame Vayukas. He said healthy Thames is an absolute game changer for the ceiling of what next year's team can be. There you go,
There you
Martin.
go.
That's your guy, Kwame Vayukas the fourth.
Who, when we booked John Hamm, says, couldn't get Jimmy Cruz? Sorry.
All these jerk off textures.
We are broadcasting live from Oak Valley for the Dotem. It is presented to you by Michelob Ultra. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Jackson vacationing at his parents' place in the Hamptons, so he is not with us. Chairman Kurt manning the ones and twos back in Creve Coeur. Doty here on the engineering for the broadcast today. And balls will get up in the air at 10:30 as the festivities will get underway for day 2 of the Dotem. And the players are starting to arrive on what is a beautiful morning in Peevely, Missouri. And it is our pleasure to welcome to the dais James Toombs from Oak Valley to talk it over. And James, we'll welcome you into the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Man, it's great to be here.
Tell the audience about what we have going on here, because I think this is going to be pretty exciting for our listeners, as we've been raving about the golf course. I played it yesterday, and how, Doug, what do you call it? A hidden gem.
It's a little hidden gem
Little
down
hidden
here in
gem.
Jefferson County.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my first trip down here. But what I'm here to talk about today is ReadyMed Healthcare. And I brought you an urgent care in a pack. Quite amazing. This is for it's emergency antibiotics, medications for home travel, natural disasters. Have you ever been in any place that's been affected by a natural disaster?
Doug?
Well, yeah.
Doug is the go-to.
I was in North St. Louis just a couple days ago looking at the tornado damage.
I was in Katrina. Well, it was about 4 or 5 months after it happened.
Oh my gosh, I was in Katrina about 4 or 5 days after it happened, and we can certainly. I was there with the National Guard, and we could have certainly used these medical packs then. You know, people getting cuts, scrapes, things like that. When you go, there's not medical care available. Does this thing in my finger need an antibiotic? Does this cut need, do I need treatment for this? And I started teaming with Dr. Dana Mercer. She's the founder of ReadyMed Healthcare, and we thought, what can we build that people can take with them? What can we can build that people can have on hand for these types of natural disasters? This is the pack that I like. It's the travel pack.
Hold it up for the YouTube audience. There we go.
It's the travel pack, and I've been a hiker. Go out to the Colorado Trail, and I worry about bad food, bad water. Find yourself 3 days down the trail, encountering that. What are you going to do? Infected blister. What are you going to do? Well, take your meds with you and be ready for that. What I like about this, it's you get online. It's fairly easy to do. ReadyMedHealthcare.com. You fill out a questionnaire. You select your pack. You get a call from a U.S. licensed physician. They interview you. They review your medications, your potential interactions, your allergies, and then they enter the scripts for you, and it's delivered to your door. It's quite cool.
And you guys are out here at the tournament?
We are at the tournament.
Okay, nice.
And the one of the owners of ReadyMed Healthcare, Takir, is the owner of this golf course.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There you go.
I
So
was trying to connect all the dots. Now we know. Okay.
now we know.
And Takir is the owner here. And
Yeah.
yesterday he was recording video, and I was like, "Who's the guy
What?
taking video?" Like, that's the owner.
That's the owner
How
of the
about
golf
that?
course. Oak Valley is the golf course.
Pack.
The hidden gem here, and a number of people are learning about it this week and getting a chance to play the golf course. And Doug, one of the things that Takir is offering up is additional prizes for the participants today. What do we got here?
They've got a 2-night stay at the Zion House out
Which is-
here at
yeah,
Oak
it's
Valley.
right here,
It's
like
right
off
here
of number
off the
7.
golf course.
Yeah.
They say it's perfect for a bachelor party or a weekend get together with the guys. It's a 5-bedroom lodge, 4.5 bath with a full kitchen, and they're giving that away, 2-night stay to the whoever draws the lucky ticket after the tournament.
Outstanding. Yeah, that is another perk for people who are learning about Oak Valley, since it is where we are hosting the Dotem this year here. Day 2, a beautiful day in Peevely, Missouri. And James, we appreciate you coming by the program, and Takir for hosting us here. And we look forward to coming back. A lot of our listeners are enjoying being out here. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Tim.
That's James Toombs with us here on TMA 101 ESPN. Friends can gather in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Michelob Ultra, also the presenting sponsor of the Dotem. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. It's only worth it if you enjoy it today. Plenty will be enjoyed here for the festivities. Michelob Ultra, sponsor of the Dotem and the YouTube chat here on TMA. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the show. We'll take a commercial break, come back with more of the morning after, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
spectacular.
TMA is broadcasting live from Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort for the Dotem Golf Tournament. Refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
Doug, we're going to slow it down again for you.
Hey, man.
I don't know why.
Oh,
but
Bill.
I'm feeling so sad.
Now, this is a gentleman.
Right.
I long to try something I have never had. I've never had no kissing. Ooh, what have I been missing? Lover man, oh, where can you be?
Martin, lover man, where can you be? That's the question. It's rhetorical. Now it's
No, this is a young lady.
well.
I give my soul.
It's TMA. It's presented by Brandon Kruger.
Gender bending? Is that what this is? Doug, your photographer from Channel 4 is here. Are you doing a
Nick
special
Zervos.
tonight? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Nick the Greek is here.
Uh-huh.
Doug, are you doing a live shot?
No, I don't work there anymore,
Are you
Martin.
sure?
I haven't in almost 4 years.
I saw
now.
you last night doing
Almost
sports.
4 years.
Larry Connors, send it over. Let's hear from Doug.
It's TMA, and we're live at Oak Valley. Ken Iggy Strode is here. He's wearing the canary yellow, and I think we were talking about you in the 7 o'clock hour, Iggy, and I think it's only fair that you get to tell your side of the story. Slide into the dais.
Oh, come on.
He's gonna come on.
He wants to be
Ken Iggy
begged.
Strode.
No, he wants to be begged. Please, look at the shoes. He's got gold shoes.
Yeah, the man's wearing gold. Iggy, I think Doty's gonna ask you to sit over here.
I think for YouTube purposes.
Yeah. Well, I'm
the
gonna
great
watch the
Ken-
YouTube chat.
Oh my, look at this canary yellow
Yeah.
gold shoes.
That is sharp.
I got to put my sunglasses on with that shirt he's
He's a
wearing.
real. How is it? He put the headset on backwards. It's been out of radio for 1 minute. And, oh my God!
Pondov's yelling at you to
What a
take
day.
your shirt off. Iggy, what's the good word?
Nothing, boys.
You ball striking today?
No, I'm helping out Chris.
At the
His hole.
the number 11, Doug is. his
Oh,
hole.
great. Okay.
Yeah, we'll sign some people up for Pondos podcast.
Pondov's Anonymous Recovery Podcast, and you know that he nearly had a hole in one yesterday, right in front of Doug and Mark Hanna and
Really?
Doug's son Greg. Yeah, it lipped out. I haven't heard
He
about
didn't
it
even
from
tell me
him.
that today.
Mhm.
You had a near hole in one yesterday, right? Oh, so I was going to
Closest
ask
he's
if you had
got.
had one. How
Yeah.
about that? Right in front of Doug too.
I saw it. Yeah, about 4, 5, 6 inches away from the cup.
Doug got movement.
Now,
is
what
he
the
said.
hell does that mean?
Martin, what
I
is
got
it?
movement.
Iggy, what's
I
doing?
don't know what I can say on the show anymore.
what's doing?
Nothing. Just hanging out,
Yeah.
doing my Iggy podcast thing.
How's that going? How is it?
It's, I think it's the same 60 people have been there for about 2 months.
Way to pump it up.
Don't lose. Well, I don't lose any. I don't add any. So I'm just doing it
Well,
for
let's
these.
give it a hard push.
I'm
right?
doing
Yeah,
it for.
Let's push it.
I don't want to get payola trouble.
I don't think it's going to be any issue.
What's the worst thing that can happen to you?
Yeah. Get rid of me again.
I tried to get a photo that included your shoes. I apologize. You got the
The
great
shoes,
All right,
Iggy,
put
are
'em up
those
here, huh?
those aren't golf spikes, are they?
Where does a gentleman buy such footwear?
Yeah, Martin's all over this.
Amazon, I believe.
Oh, really?
They're like $29. They'll last me a couple of years and they'll fall apart. I don't wear them very often. Just a big occasion like this. I
Yeah,
thought I
big
wear 'em.
occasion like this.
And they kind of
absolutely.
match the shirt.
Well,
So anyway, it's
Okay.
patreon.com/Iggy Uncut.
There you go.
Iggy
Patreon.com.
Uncut.
And I just
/
do
Iggy Uncut.
I talk about what I want. A lot of interviews up there. Christy Canyon's up there. Seika's
Doug
up
Christy
there.
Canyon, you wanted to hear from her?
I'm not sure I could identify Christy Canyon.
Martin.
She,
Martin
she a
will enjoy
geologist or
this.
something.
Martin will enjoy this because he knows my forte of guest. When Bob Uecker passed away, I was thinking, who can I get on the podcast to talk about Bob Uecker? I got the girl who played his daughter on Mr. Belvedere. She came on.
I was thinking about that
Yeah.
connection.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, she wasn't hard to get on. She
was available.
Here, I'll cough in the mic and make everybody happy. No, she's selling real estate now.
Oh, is that right?
So it wasn't hard to find her. She's listed.
Who was the girl, female, that had been on? Was she on Different Strokes? And I didn't know.
Dana Plato?
I don't. Was it her? Because it was somebody he booked. He said, hey, "Come here, somebody's got to do this. It's a straight to the web." And I walked into the back booth. I'm like, "Hey, who is it?" I'm like, "Hey, you were on that show, great." And boy, so many children actors get into trouble in life, and good for you. And she said, "Well, I just got out of prison."
Oh no!
Might have been Dana Plato.
It was somebody that I had no idea who she was. And Iggy's like, "Here, do this real quick."
Well, the funny thing, when we did that name the celebrity, which you've now stolen for this show.
Surprise guest.
Surprise guest. No, it was I would get these celebrities on, and then they would have to guess, but I would always have on a piece of paper the name because I knew they wouldn't get it. And Martin would like ask these questions. So were you on this? Were you on this? And he looks at me. I said,
He'd hold
"Is this Lucy Lawless?" Oh, Lucy.
Xena Warrior.
They didn't even know who they were.
The best was Clint Howard, which is Ron Howard's brother.
Oh yeah.
And he was on hold, and he said to Iggy, "How long is this going to be? You're using up my minutes." And I'm like, "It's Ron Howard's brother."
He's still paying for long distance. He was worried.
And then I'm in Jupiter doing the show. I'm on a headset. You know where Ollie or LaRusa, that little office,
Yeah.
there's a hallway. It must have been raining. I was in the hallway doing the stupid show, probably 1380, and Iggy's producing. And we had a surprise guest, and I was talking. I'm like, were you in this? Were you in this? No clue. And finally, Iggy goes, "Oh, for God's sakes, it's Bruce Greenwood." And I thought, that doesn't really help.
Oh, I got some terrible ones on there.
Iggy, you haven't seen the text inbox in 7 or 8 months.
I've never seen it.
Guess what? They're in the YouTube chat bitching about the breathing into the mic. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
just
why
like,
wouldn't they?
You didn't miss a day.
Why wouldn't I? Well, I had to walk like 25 feet over here, so
That's tiring. While smoking a dart.
yeah, I don't do anything anymore. I sit on the couch pretty much all day. So is it called atrophy? Atrophy?
Atrophy.
Atrophy? Maybe atrophy set in. I can't walk anymore.
Well, why aren't you doing more?
Oh, I get out. I usually walk down to Cafe Dolce, get a coffee.
Slow down, mister.
Wow.
Slow down.
Don't overexert, Iggy.
Walk across the street to Di Gregorio's, get some cannelloni. And then back on the
God,
couch.
I'm tired of this story.
Oh, that's Sherman Kurt.
Kurt
Sherman
sniping
Kurt
you.
is sniping you. From
So
I talked to Joe the other day.
Joe Buck.
Yeah, my sister-in-law waited
Was
on
he
him.
referenced?
He was the
No.
drop.
Oh, my sister-in-law waited on him at Annie Gunn's the other night, and she said, "I waited on Joe. He said he loves you." So I just texted Joe, and I said, "I understand my sister-in-law waited on you. Because your ears must be burning." I go, "No, she told me."
When we have a guest, Iggy will send me a little note. So you sent me Linda Lavin's number, the great Alice.
Didn't she pass?
I believe she's
Yeah, she's
passed.
passed.
But you still have her number.
She yelled at me one time. I would try to get her on with you guys at least weekly.
Yes.
I'd say, "Linda, we're trying to get you on for our surprise guest." Finally, she got back. She goes, "Leave me alone. Where did you get this number?"
Can't you get Mel or
Yeah.
Flo? You sent me Max Bayer. I believe he's still alive,
still
right? The
alive.
great Jethro.
The only hillbilly left.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donna Douglas passed away not long ago.
Oh, wow.
I've interviewed Donna Douglas.
Bobby Vinton used to text me. Still alive?
Yeah.
You sure?
I think so.
Carol Channing. I have her number.
I think she's dead.
I think it's been a while. Sybil Danning. I have to tell you, I don't know who that is.
She's a B-list actress back in the day. Got naked in almost every movie she did.
Okay.
And she loves herself.
Peter Marshall, the great game show host, I believe,
Oh,
has passed
yeah.
for quite a while.
The son played in the major leagues
Pete
for years.
Lecoq.
Uh-huh.
Leonard Nimoy has been texting to me over the.
I think he died too.
Yes.
There's a lot of
sure.
dead people in my Rolodex.
Well, these guys were stars in the 60s.
And then you sent me Brian Bowringer's number. So
Well, you were talking about him the day I was
I
listening.
know,
I
I
didn't know if you
know.
had him.
Oh, and Charles Barkley. Why did I
You got
text him?
that one? Now that's
Wow.
A-list material there.
And
Iggy.
that number is good.
Okay.
Wow.
Future.
Yeah, we
sweet
got a surprise
dreams.
guest.
I don't believe he'd be a surprise guest. Just get him on the air.
Now, your number, which was well documented, was about 500 romantic escapades. Is that number increasing now? Is there a special
Not lately.
young lady in your life?
Not lately.
You were fishing for a date in the YouTube chat a couple weeks ago for the Plowhawks wedding. How is that looking?
Well, I felt bad because Plowsy was saying, "I really hope nobody brings anybody because we can't afford it." So we did a Pepper and Genie a couple weeks ago, and I said, "I'm not bringing anybody." I said, I reached out to Dilly, and she was thinking about flying in for the wedding.
Oh
but I won't
my
bring
God,
her.
that would have been wonderful.
But I said, "No, for you, I won't bring anybody because I know you're kind of cutting back." So I'll be
Nobody wants to have sex with me now.
I'll bring her. So no, I'm going alone.
Oh, well.
Jackson's not going. He's got sweet
I heard
guy's
it.
wedding.
I still listen to you guys pretty much.
Well, I know. I see in the YouTube chat.
Yeah,
I
I'll go in.
reference your YouTube chat comments.
I'll go in there and chat with the guys for a while, but when I can. I mean, it's not like I'm doing anything, but if I get up in time to turn it on,
You're going for coffee. Don't say you're not doing anything.
When you say you're not doing anything, how different is it from when you actually worked at the show?
well, when I did the show, I at least had to get up at 5:30 and get in here
Okay.
by 7.
But you still get up now and you watch the YouTube.
When I'm up,
Okay, when you're up.
I'm not setting the alarm at 5:30 to make sure I'm ready to listen at 7.
Were you at KASP, the original?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me, Rammer, McKenna, Claiborne,
Claibs was there.
Slayton.
Wasn't Jennings there?
Jay put late. My first day there, he put late. I got there 9:02. I looked at the sheet late.
Well, when Jennings is holding you accountable.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know who he was. I said, "Who's this guy?"
So you were late on your first day. You really wanted to
I wasn't
show
even
him
getting
that.
paid.
You wanted to show him that can-do
I
attitude.
wasn't even getting paid. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Late.
So, and they had just random people. Kim Hibbs, who was in TV for.
Yeah.
He was.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Now he's in construction.
He is.
He was a general manager.
Natural segue.
He was a general manager at the time. I don't even know who
Was
owned it.
Rich Gray was the owner, the guy from
Rich Gray.
Eagle?
He pretty much started it. Yeah, and a lot
This is
of
like
guys.
a Dan Caesar column all of a sudden.
No, I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't
not
read his
by you.
article. He called me this week and
You're all over the article.
is it? I didn't read it. I don't subscribe, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're all over the article.
Yeah, I don't know. He asked me some things about ownerships, and I had some few things to say about
I haven't
previous owners.
I saw the first quarter of the article.
I praised you.
I haven't read the entire Martin.
I don't
before
know
the
if
show
it's in
started.
there.
He goes, look at this. There, you're on the front page of the paper.
Is
And
it
I
you
go,
with the
"Oh, that's-
cap on? They like that picture of you with the little, the what is it, a derby?
Doug, you like the purple derby?
Oh,
Yeah, they always use that same picture of you. There's so many pictures to find. They always use that same picture with like a pea coat on and a
Yeah, it's Peaky Blinders.
like an Andy Cap hat.
Yeah,
I noticed my picture wasn't on there. Four of the guys. I
oh
was
no.
So I don't know, but I did say when Tim came over to 590 from 920, he ran the station, and if they'd have let him run the station, it would still probably be there.
Oh,
But
I hope that all wasn't referenced.
Well,
I
I
haven't
just-
gotten there yet.
It was a compliment to you.
No, I appreciate that. I know. I just like what they was it, leave sleeping dogs.
Let sleeping dogs lie.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
care.
No, I know you don't. I'm just trying.
It's not like I'm going back.
I love Dan Caesar, but he's a recap guy. Remember that one time you punched that one guy, and then you quit that one show, and then you went to the other show, then you quit that show, and I'm like, yeah, I do remember that.
I told him a couple stories too, so I don't know what's in there.
Are you making progress with your book?
You know, I'm 6 chapters in now, Doug.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
that's
God!
all right. Author Ken Stroh joins us.
That's something else I'm doing.
That thing.
That's something I do.
That thing truly would make some money. I mean, that's you know that.
I forgot who asked me that yesterday. Somebody was talking. Somebody said, "How's the book?" And I said, "I'm like 6 chapters in." That will be a must read. And I think Caesar told me that.
Oh, did he? Well, he's right. People will absolutely buy that. You do the Audible thing where you voice it
Yeah, I don't know
too.
if I do that. No, somebody else do it. Maybe Pondoff can read it.
Yeah, that's too much work. How many chapters until you're done? When do you say, well, okay,
I
that's
just
a
keep
wrap?
writing, and I think of something else. I said, "This will make a good chapter."
So
I
you're
do have a
6
chapter.
chapters in. What is the last thing you covered? Assuming this isn't dealing with somebody who might be litigious.
They will be suing. So that's the person this last chapter.
Martin, that's one of the
Okay.
things. That's something when we build out the pro forma, we need to factor in legal.
Yeah, let's
because
be
they-
real careful. I
Yeah.
do look forward to your book tour where Iggy's making the rounds and hey, where can they get it? I don't. If you want to read it, it's fine.
Yes.
If you got that kind of time
Come
on your
on.
hands.
I got a little table in front of Marconi and Daggett. Just I'll sign a few books coming over.
I saw Marco last week. Marco Bertorelli.
Did you?
Yeah,
I never see him.
we had an Iggy chat.
Really? About what?
You said you're doing well. I don't know.
I never see him. He's. I guess
He
he's.
said
my
you have a
landlord.
table out front.
Well,
You
it's
smoke out
it's-
front?
It's yeah. It's this concrete table. I think it belongs to the.
Italian people.
It's a gift from the United States to the immigrants.
Yeah, I think the Italians left it
Sent
there.
over from Milan.
Yeah. Supposedly some bigwig down there, not Di Gregorio, one of the other bigwigs who lived down there, bought all these things for his pool, and he didn't like them, so he decided, "I go throw them out, go throw them down on Daggett somewhere." So they're all over the place. But yeah, just sit out there and smoke, and it's amazing that people, unless they're doing it on purpose, that I'll sit out there in 3 or 4 cars if I'm out there for an hour or so, just relaxing, honk, Iggy, miss you.
You wave. The people just drive up and down
Yeah.
the street.
Well, I let people know I live on Marconi and Daggett, so they just kind
Now
of
I want them to wave and say, Iggy, don't miss you.
Iggy.
Just to kind of balance it out.
glad you're gone, idiot.
Well, here you go. Here's the text inbox. Okay, that's enough. That's from Beer Cats right there.
Yeah, it's about time for a cigarette break anyway.
How are your lungs?
I brought Kegler's Corner
How
back, and it was like the talk of the town.
Talk of the town.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I wasn't called to see if I wanted to bring that back to 590.
Shout out the current administration.
No, I hope they do well.
Charlie Tunis texted me saying, "Can I come on the show?" And I said, "Don't you work at 590?" He said, "Ramsey works at 550." Which I haven't come up with a good retort. Just trying to inch towards 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tried to run the misdirection there, and you got called.
Somebody told me Tuna's got a show on there now.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
You're working at. He said, well, "Rammer's at 550," and I don't really have a good answer.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if
We're up against it.
I don't know if I should say this, but I guess I can because it's their station starts next week. Cucky's doing an evening show.
Oh, good for
He's
Cucky.
bringing, I guess,
Cucky's active in the YouTube chat.
I guess he's bringing Hoosier Sophisticate back.
Doug, Hoosier Sophisticate.
That's the name of the show.
Yeah, but I think he's going to do a show on Thursday nights. So good luck to him.
What do you talk about on a show called Hoosier Sophisticate?
They probably come in blue jean cutoffs, and
That's hot.
I don't know. I love Cucky, so hopefully that show's fun.
I don't know the years. Tim says, when are we getting the Learn mentioned in the Michelob Ultra YouTube channel?
Having lunch with Learn Wednesday.
There you go.
Oh, really?
You're available on Wednesday.
Yeah, I checked my schedule. I actually said that. She said,
You
would. Can you have lunch next Wednesday? I said, let me check my schedule. I'll get back to you. And it took me like 2 seconds. I'm good.
I'll come down to meet you at
And
Adriana's
Iggy,
one day.
stop for 1 second. Stop talking about Learn, dude. Just give it a rest.
Is that Licks?
Is he on?
It does sound like Mr. Licks.
Is he on?
I think that was a drop.
Oh, a drop?
I don't have my phone out to see if Licks is on hold to talk with you. I'm sure he would love to.
No, we haven't seen each other in a while. So she said, you want to have lunch Wednesday? I said, sure.
There you go.
So I'm not going to tell you where because people will show up. But
People show up.
Yeah, couldn't get to the door.
Just see Learn.
When you make a reservation, you just call. It's Iggy.
Iggy, do you have anything on the patio? All right, I'll be there by noon.
Martin, I want your reaction to this story, which my guess is you haven't heard. Iggy gets challenged on the veracity of it. Jenna Fisher, Christmas. Can you tell that story?
The great Jennifer Nearings Hall and The Office.
Of course.
Was she married to Jim Gunn or is?
Was, I believe. And tell Martin the story because I can tell Martin has not heard the story by that reaction.
Is this what you brought up today? You said we were talking about you on the air. You can.
No, people asked what happened to Lisa Ann, and I gave what I thought was an accurate representation.
I'm sure you're fine.
But this is Jenna Fisher when her people reached out to you.
Well, I got to know Jenna at the All-Star game here, the baseball All-Star game. I guess I should preface that because it was wintertime hockey. No, it was baseball, idiot.
Who's the idiot? Just in general.
Just in general.
Whoever's yelling at their radio right now just got called idiot. Blanket statement.
But I got to know her a little bit, and her publicist got to know me and talked and lined up the thing because I got her for Frank from my patio. I wasn't even working in 5. I got fired from 590 at that point. And Frank said, "Can you get me Jenna Fisher?" I said, "Yeah, I'll make a call." I got Jenna Fisher on. I'm producing shows for my patio, and I don't even work for the guy. But she came on with Frank, and so I don't know why, but her publicist called me and said, Jenna is coming in for Christmas with her family. They need like a table of 12 somewhere. Can you help me out? I said, yeah. I always thought to myself, I said, why don't you do it yourself? I mean, my God, you can't make a phone call? But I'm a nice guy. I said, sure, let me make some calls.
Sure.
And I thought it was at Sam's Steakhouse. I could be wrong. I don't know. And I don't even know if they showed up or not.
Martin, the audience very skeptical that Jenna Fisher would need to contact Iggy to get a table in St. Louis.
I don't know why either.
But I think it's so random. It'd be a tough one to make up.
Yeah, I'm not going
For a
to. I
table
tell
of
these
12.
people when they say I'm lying. Yeah, I just woke up this morning, 5:30, having a coffee. I think I'm going to make up a story about Jenna Fisher needing dinner reservations today. Yes, that's it. That's the good one.
Now, Ken, I do question the veracity of many of your stories, but on this one, I think it's too random to be made up.
Look at that, Iggy. You got the endorsement.
I mean, it's quite obvious at this point. Someone is being lied to.
There's the Colonel.
Well, who's being lied to?
Well, I don't know.
You're answering the drop.
You're answering drop.
Jenna Fisher asked me. Her publicist asked me. I got it done.
Chairman, if you could, just for the next minute, can you have a conversation with Ken via drops? Go ahead. Chairman Kurt will speak to you, Ken, via drops.
Maybe this will be a new show for 590.
Time to take a break.
Chairman wants us to take a break.
It is a smoke break. There's no door to go out, so you can't lock me out.
You can just light darts up.
I don't like smoking in front of people. I just go kind of.
You have a cigarette and a lighter sitting right in front of you.
lit.
Is that just to warn people it might be happening
It's
at
not
any
lit.
time?
No, I was going to smoke, and then Tim called me over. And Tim is more important than me going to smoke, so I came.
Oh,
wow.
where's the gong?
Where's the gong?
Doug, you don't have your gong. What are you hitting the mic with?
But I do.
You did walk in a bit like a superstar. You had kind of that Stephen A. when they videotape him for some reason entering an NBA Finals.
Yeah, he does have that kind of like
swagger.
$1 million walk.
I thought
we parked there and I walked here.
But I think you made a point of it not to make eye contact with the dais. Like, okay.
I didn't know where the dais was. Okay. I walked from there to there, and I had these sunglasses on, so I really can't see.
You're not ball striking today?
No, I'm just going to help out Chris at Pondoff's Anonymous. What hole is that? 15, 17?
11. Yeah.
Yeah, just
always a detail guy. What am I on? 15, 17? Actually, the 11th
so people
hole.
know where I am, so
Well,
I
I
can
know.
kind of sidetrack a couple holes and get over there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. You got that in the deal.
No, I just said I need a chair. If I'm
Are you concerned that there'll be big crowds gathering around the 11th hole?
No. I mean, half these people probably won't even recognize me.
Oh my God!
You're in a
people are
canary
thrilled. They're-
yellow.
I mean, this is so rare. The last time you were on the program, shut up, Leather. And look at this. You're back, and absence makes the heart grow fond. People are in heaven.
Really?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Has anybody ever said to you, "Shut up, Leather"?
Yeah, I think you did one time on the air. You took that quote and you started using it. Shut up, Leather. No, I forgot some of the names I was called. They were
How about
pretty
this?
funny.
Can the Crypt Keeper tell
There
us
you go.
when the Cooking with Ken show will be back? There, is that nice?
I don't know. I haven't done one in a while.
No.
I did. Well, why don't you go join Iggy Uncut on Patreon and maybe I'll put one up there for you.
Weren't you called an ashen sweet potato?
Yeah, that was,
I've seen that one in here since.
that was toward the end. That was toward the end of my tenure. That one stuck for a while. I said that doesn't even make sense, but it sounds awful.
How about this? Mr. Licks is not calling in the Callier and Thompson phone lines, but he just texted, "I'm 4 minutes behind live air, but listening to Iggy right now and absolutely loving it. I miss you, Iggy." That's from Mr. Licks. And you guys faced off. Is that the 2023
I don't know the years.
Club
Tim.
championship or
I think it's the last time I played
2024?
golf.
That's the last time you played golf? When you hit the putt that was 40 feet short, but it was a great
It was a
putt?
great putt, yeah.
It wasn't a good putt.
It was an inch.
You
from
left
being
it way short.
It was a one oscillation from being stiff.
Well, that makes it a bad putt.
Stiff, knocked it stiff with a putt.
No, I will say I still listen to you guys. I love all you guys, and I do miss being on the show. I miss all you
We
guys.
miss you, man.
Mhm.
We miss you.
Well, Tommy,
Oh, gosh.
He's taking the airwaves and he's campaigning.
How's that worked out in the past? Like directly to management.
No, it's not going directly. It's going on the station.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
even going.
well, listen. Tommy and John know I love them to death. I have no ill will for anything that happened. They treated me
And
like,
they love you.
They treated me like a king when I was there, and I love all that. I still love everybody. Gave Jess a big hug when I came in. So I love Tommy and John.
Iggy, I was going to say don't ever change, but I think it's clear you won't.
Oh, wow. It's a little late for that, isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Ken
Strode.
Iggy
Thank you.
Strode with a glorious return, coming back like
See him on
Jordan.
the 11th
wearing the
hole
4-5.
today.
Yeah, 11th hole. Great to see you, brother.
Sorry, I missed Rammer. I told Rammer I wanted to try and say hi to him.
Yeah, that was a treat as well. Ken Iggy Strode on the
See
program. TMA live from the Dotem, presented to you by Michelob Ultra, as we are celebrating day 2 of the festivities here from Oak Valley. Martin, you wanted to tell the people about some wonderful things.
Well, Design Air is not only a great company, but the longest running sponsor. And when it's email of the day, Tim, we like to give them material.
Yep.
And I feel the first couple hours of each show really does its part to load up the topics for the email of the day, which is how this show closes out each day. It's brought to you by Design Air. They've been around St. Louis for more than a century now, providing cool in the summer, heat in the winter. You know how it is when you walk inside your home and it doesn't feel quite right. Even if you have the AC on or the heat on, you're like, it's just not kicking in. Go to the pros at designairservice.com. Set up an appointment. They can come out, give you a routine checkup, a repair, a tune-up, whatever it is you need. They are the best in the business. Designairservice.com. Seth Goldcamp, his entire team dedicated to make sure you're cool in the summer, warm in the winter. They've been doing it a long time. Family-owned business. Support the sponsors, and they've been with this show for a long, long time. It's designairservice.com.
There it is. Design Air Heating and Cooling, sponsor the email of the day. Send your emails in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Maybe we can have Iggy come back for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day.
He's probably busy.
He can send some
He's smoking now.
Or
by the way.
overworked at this point.
the morning after at InsideSTL.com. That's how you can send them in. Brown and Crouppen is the presenting sponsor of the program. The title sponsor of this show now for a couple of years. We're very grateful for their support. You hear from Andy Crouppen, who was in this week. Terry Crouppen and Ed Herman. They are local. That's why you hear them in studio. The offices that they have built, really incredible, on the hill. And it was founded in 1979. If you are in a spot where you need a personal injury attorney, don't you want somebody who is local? Don't you want somebody who knows how to handle the ins and outs of your case in the local environment? Well, that's Brown and Crouppen. They're online at brownandcrouppen.com or by calling 314-222-2222. It's Brown and Crouppen, title sponsor of TMA. If you think you may need Brown and Crouppen services, call 314-222-2222 or go to brownandcrouppen.com and make sure you let them know you heard about them on TMA. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising. Past results are no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own accord. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. This is TMA, and it's presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
Resort for the Dotem Golf Tournament. Refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
Oh, Luther Vandross. Wow. Puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Most certainly does, because I was lacking perspective until I heard the song, and now I have it.
It's pretty obvious that we're not skilled for any other work.
Right.
We come out of every break, and none of us have our mics on. It's
No.
every single.
We're
every
new.
single.
We're
it's
new.
one button that you push, and every single time, like, and welcome back. Every time.
I feel like it probably takes about 50 years of experience in this business before you get it down.
And you start figuring the whole thing
Mhm.
out. It's TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. We are live from Oak Valley Golf Course for day 2 of the Dotem. It is a beautiful morning in Peevely, Missouri. This golf tournament is presented to you by Michelob Ultra, and we are partnered this year with the St. Louis Hero Network in honor of the late, great Brian McKenna. And joining us right now from the St. Louis Hero Network is Charlie Metzger. Charlie, great to see you again. We had a wonderful day yesterday, and we're looking forward to another one today.
Day 2 of honoring one of my best friends, Brian McKenna, out here at the Dotem. I'm pleasure. It's a pleasure of mine to be out here with you guys, to meet you guys. And I mean, Brian would have had a blast today. He would have been in one of his costumes or one of his outfits, dancing
Topless,
around.
yeah.
Right. We have some film of him, like recently, like when it was raining outside. He was dancing out in the rain with, in a flame, suit that was just, incredible. He was just an incredible person.
I have this St. Patty's Day. He was all green, and then when the Blues won the cup, he was all blue.
Right.
There's this is a great radio, Tim. There's the blue. There's the blue.
There he is.
And it's kind of like a teal blue.
A little teal.
And I have a video of him dancing at PBR's stage, or Ballpark Village stage, right in the center.
He was very shy, laid back
No.
type of guy.
Well, your vibe attracts your tribe, and he
That's
had
what
a
he said,
he
yeah.
had a great tribe, and I was happy to be part of it, and he was happy to be part of ours.
And the Hero Network, what's great about Brian is a lot of times if you're going to help a charity, awareness is like the number one thing. And I didn't know until yesterday, you said it, a lot of what you do, it's highlighting first responders who have businesses. So tell folks again that didn't hear yesterday what you guys are all about.
Well, the St. Louis Hero Network connects our first responders and veterans to the community, but allows our community to support them and their families by supporting these 215 businesses that we represent. And Brian was a big aspect of representing them. He was our brand ambassador for the entire 7 years of our existence. And so he would get out there and get exposure and visibility for, these businesses. His brother was a St. Louis police officer. So he's very passionate about our community, our first responders, and even our veterans. I mean, Brian wasn't just an ambassador of the St. Louis Hero Network. He was an ambassador of St. Louis Hills, Francis Park, St. Gabriel's, South City, St. Louis.
Yeah, through and through. And a personality that when he walked in the room, people were all excited to see him. It's just an amazing attribute. And the reaction to his passing, sadness, of course, it still carries on. You were talking about that yesterday, Charlie, but the what I would imagine tomorrow at Brian McKenna Day in between Devonshire and Nottingham on Macklin from 2 to 7, it's going to be a crowd that I think is going to blow people away.
It's going to be insane. I don't know where everybody's going to park, but I assume it can be anywhere between 2,000 and 10,000 people down there.
It's going to be something else. The weather's going to be great. It's going to be like what we've got here today. And so many people, so many restaurants, Martin, you've been making reference to, are looking forward to being there to celebrate somebody whose legacy was that personality, the kindness, and then the charitable aspect, which, of course, is why we are working with St. Louis Hero Network, something that Brian was super passionate about for our audience who wants to support the cause. I handed you the $50 from the gentleman who was just waiting here at like 7 o'clock for us and wanted me to get that to you. How can people support the St. Louis Hero Network?
Well, the best way to support the St. Louis Hero Network is using those 215 businesses and help support our local first responders and veterans. But if you want to go and make a donation, obviously you can go to stlheronetwork.com, and that's where you can also find all these businesses. It's a huge directory of different businesses. I mean, it's not just like service businesses like I'm going to paint your house, I'm going to fix your deck or build you a deck. It's insurance, it's financial advising, it's car maintenance, it's anything and everything you can possibly think of.
Yeah, that's a wonderful organization. A number of our listeners are learning about it, and the reason they're learning about it is Charlie's kindness and being here both days of the Dotem, and Brian McKenna being one of the faces of the organization, a tribute to his life and legacy of charitable giving. Charlie Metzner of the St. Louis Hero Network with us here live from Oak Valley on TMA. Charlie, thank you so much as always, man.
Thanks,
Great to
Tim.
see you again. Looking
Thanks,
forward to
Doug.
the festivities
Thanks very
today.
much. Thanks, Mark.
Charlie with us here as we take a break and come back with more TMA live on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
is broadcasting live from Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort for the Dotem Golf Tournament, refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
It's May 1990, Martin. Am I right?
Well,
Mike's not on. That's
oh
the
my
brand.
God. Well, you know what it is? Pushing down feels like it would be on.
I agree with
And
you.
I think that's what's happening. Belle Biv DeVoe, maybe?
Yeah, 1990. I was playing at Mike Bush's Hoops Plus.
Oh, were you?
Were you?
No.
Probably tore it up too. Probably
Timmy, thanks.
It is TMA, and we are live from the Dotem, and it is presented to you by Michelob Ultra Oak Valley Golf Course. What a perfect day, Doug. I mean, this is absolute perfection.
Yeah. Chamber of Commerce weather today. Feels
Uh,
like it's like mid to upper 70s right now. Sunny skies.
16
No rain in the forecast.
16 under was the winning score yesterday. You were a master of observing the hawk, and we know the Mississippi River is right behind us, but the hawk is down at this moment. The course will be firm. Conditions will be optimal. Will players go lower than 16 under today to win the championship, especially knowing that they have to do that and they can alter their scores in order to do it?
I think so.
Nice.
I think we're going to get some real serious golfers here today because I know the Friday event sold out quicker than the Thursday event. So the guys who really are into it, who really want to play, they said, let's do it. And they signed up Friday real quick like. And just looking at the people on here, well, there's some walruses out here. But there's some guys who look like
You're
they can
on
strike the golf
speaker.
ball.
Doug, you are on speaker
Okay.
broadcasting to said wall ride.
All right.
Yes, we did a Rams pregame show at Bear Plaza across the street from the Dome, and it was much like this. Had speakers, and people would get. Ricky Prohl was the analyst. People would stand and listen and watch the show. We go to the commercial, and now apparently we're still out on speaker.
Oh,
But
wow.
87, Ricky Prohl doesn't know that. Hey, Mark, look over there. Look over there. I said, what? He goes, look at her. And I said, what? And he said, Cleveland Brown. Cleveland Brown. I said, what? Great uniform, bad helmet. And I said, I'm sorry? And he said, and all of a sudden everybody's turning and looking at the stage. And I said, boy, you used to be known for the catch. This. So be careful what you say, Doug, about these fine folks who are gathered here.
They look like really good golfers.
Day two of the Dome.
Really, and the weather's better. And it's not raining.
Beautiful.
So I think they'll probably have lower scores today.
I enjoy the reach of the show. Sharky, friend of the show in California.
Sharky in California.
Just listened to the John Hamm, and he said, when will the Hot Stove Blues episode be? Because John said he'd come back on to
And talk Hot Stove Blues.
Hot Stove Blues. And then another loyal listener, Patrick Walsh, over at Nearing, sent me a text. He said, wow, the first surprise first aid kit guest ever, because we didn't know we were going to be talking first aid kits. And I said, some weeks it's John Hamm, other weeks it's a first aid kit. So stay tuned.
You never know what you're going to get. Email in for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. That comes your way at the tail end of the presentation, as was the case yesterday. We are only going to 10 o'clock today because the tournament tees off at 10:30. So thank you to BK, Ferrario, and Tanner for starting their program an hour early and doing 10 to 2 today. And we'll be back doing full 4 hours on Monday. But yeah, this is absolute perfection weather-wise here today. And now Iggy and Steve and Wildwood are embracing, and Iggy had a lit cigarette as he hugged Chairman Steve and Wildwood, and he is not happy, and he is making his way to the dais right now, and he is walking with a purpose,
Steve.
and he is walking in front of the YouTube camera, and the audience isn't happy about it. Oh, he just lit the ball!
Oh, my
He just
God.
lit the ball! How am I explaining
Chairman
that to my
Steve.
kids?
Chairman Steve is banty. All right, if you're going to talk,
Yeah,
you might
you
as
gotta
well
have a mic.
grab a headset here. We finally figured out how these buttons work.
Right.
Watch your language.
Yeah, we got
And
to.
you're gesticulating.
Wow.
Clean. You ready for those shrooms, Doug?
No.
I got some in my bag.
I don't want to.
Yeah, it's pill form. I don't know how you usually do it.
I don't do it. I eat regular mushrooms, but not mind altering.
No, I was talking to Iggy over there, and all he needs is the apartment and the mattress, and he's back on the
Oh,
air.
is that right?
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
negotiation is out there, and he just gave a thumbs up.
Yes.
Ken Iggy strode thumbs up on it.
Does he have what it looks like you're making a bank deposit with if you owned a company. Is that what that is?
It's left over.
There's a little
What
purse.
is that, Community Federal?
Or it's a little old. It says mercantile.
Mercantile.
Or a bag where you'd have like your pens and pencils if you're in
that's
third
right,
grade.
in
By the
school.
way, it's nice to meet
Yeah,
you, Mark.
Chairman.
Oh,
Steve.
you guys had never
I
met?
apologize for the times I may have encouraged a buzzer on your behalf.
Oh, that's all
It is
right.
wonderful to meet you.
He's a 2023 listener of the year.
I remember that.
Chairman Steve, who you ball striking with today, Chairman?
The hipster, and then
And that's Denim Golf.
yeah. I told him not to wear jeans, which actually Imperial, I think he'd be okay down here.
Watch it. Watch it.
But sorry, Kurt.
Oh, you just got buzzed.
There he
Just got
goes.
buzzed.
There he goes. Born and raised. And then Don Fanucci and a guy named Joe West. I don't know who Joe
Oh,
West
Cowboy
the
umpire.
umpire.
Yeah,
He was a singer and an umpire.
Yeah, hung out at Filoni's all the time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
God bless
yeah.
You're saying the
America.
real Joe West
Yes.
hung out at Filoni.
Yes, along with Quinville. Quinville used to sit in the corner and scowl at everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind
He
of
was
an
a big-
odd take.
Yeah.
He's a big Filoni's guy.
God
Yeah.
bless America.
A lot
Did
of
not
them
know
go there.
that.
Yeah, that's the Uncle Leo's Pizza. Same pizza you get
Family.
at Uncle Leo's.
Yeah.
You get it Filoni.
Oh, is this the event where pizza was stolen?
It is, and you know who did it, and
They're
it's
not
time
here.
for you to out them.
They're not here. They're
Well,
from
you're
the-
looking down and to the left, and I'm just telling you, if we were playing poker, I would probably come over the top
They're
right
fr-
there,
they're
even with air.
They're from the Eureka area. I'll narrow it.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Oh,
Cam Jansen.
wow. You think it was Cam?
And his family.
You do have the photographic evidence, though.
Oh, we got to dig into this.
Yeah,
The Uncle Leo's Pizza. I forgot all about that.
We want those pies back.
How about that Uncle Leo's? I'm still pissed at
I've never been.
Joey Miners. What
happened?
Cheese pizza? What's he bringing cheese pizza?
Oh,
you're
it was cheese
mad
pizza
at
last
the
year? Well, I didn't get a chance to have any because it was swiped.
Well, that's all that was left was cheese pizza.
Is that what
didn't
they
take
swiped?
They were meat eaters. They were carnivores, these guys.
Oh, so they stole like the sausage and
stuff.
pepperoni.
They
Yeah.
swiped the goods
wow.
and left the cheese.
But you're mad with Joey Miners from Uncle Leo's that he brought cheese pizza in the first
I
place.
could never be mad at Joey. I love Joey.
He's a wonderful gentleman.
MEINERS?
That's right. That's right.
And also, I got a quick. So McKenna went to my grade school.
OLP.
Yes, and him and his twin brother Kevin attended my wife's first wedding. They were friends with my wife's ex-husband. So
Oh, this is
my
awkward.
first date, my first date with my wife was to a SLU game, basketball game, and McKenna was there, and we met him, and I'm like, "You know him?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then she's like, "He was at my wedding." I'm like, "Okay, that's interesting."
Is that a cuck situation in any capacity, or
a little
I don't know,
bit.
Doug?
But
I
who
don't know.
knows?
We'll have to workshop that. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know.
believe
who's-
that's a
who's-
cuck.
who's-
Onboarding
who's-
topic today. Is that a cut?
But Brian was a great guy. He was an awesome guy and
He
a
really
very
was.
charitable guy, always smiling, and used to see him everywhere.
He was something else, man.
He-
Yeah, and he was. I mean, so many people are telling these stories, sitting down here, texting in. A great tribute to the guy, and that thing tomorrow on Macklin, Chairman Steve.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pony.
Yeah, so we have a pool party at the apartment complex. So if
One cardinal
if I-
way.
if
That's
I
correct.
make it-
Sometimes Steve will text me pictures of certain people enjoying themselves.
There was some ass down there the other day.
Watch
Well, I
it.
guess
Watch it.
Yep, cat's out of the bag.
Doug, are you guys playing?
Oh, you got buzzed
Are you guys playing today, or nobody playing today?
I am not playing today.
I'm gonna.
Doug does a celebrity shot on number 12. Celebrity shot.
Boy, so Iggy and Doug back-to-back holes.
Oh, wow. What a treat. They call that Amen Corner.
So I start on 6, Doug. So about 1 o'clock, be ready to drop the shrooms. Okay.
I'm not having any shrooms out here. There's all kinds
I'd like
of food.
to see Doug
It's a
on.
good place to do it. It's a good place to do it out
Yeah,
here.
if
in
you're
the
ever going to
wild.
do it, you do it in Peevely.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
I'm
having
so
any
amped on
shrooms.
chugging with my boys.
Call the plumber. Call the plumber. All right,
There
guys.
he is. That's
You
the
guys have a-
2023
Chairman Steve with us
Listener
on
of the
the
Year,
program.
Chairman
Okay.
Steve.
All right,
Always great to
Steve.
see you, brother.
All right,
Chairman
Steve. Watch your
Steve
language.
in Wildwood. He's going
Fella.
to go enjoy some mushrooms before ball striking. And that's one of the wonderful traditions here at the Dotem, Martin.
I did. Scott Hummel, friend of the show, said, "Can somebody explain why it's called the Dotem?" And I do think a lot of the 101 listeners
Who are just learning about this program.
and hating it all the more.
That's exactly right. So Doug, Deke Dotem was a name of a listener who heard a caller by the name of Mike Lee, who I still believe calls Martin at the Two Fox.
And then he uses his, "Hey, tell Tim." And I'm like, and for years I don't really see Tim. And now I can't lie. "Hey, tell Tim."
Tell him.
I'm like, what am I supposed to tell him?
So he was saying something about Brett Hull. The belief is, and I think Swope covered this, it's a 2-part Swope's picks. You ought to listen to it, Martin.
If I only had the time.
We think he was saying he know him, but we mistook it for Deke Dotem. And then this emailer, who I, in my opinion, and we don't kink shame on the show.
I do. I kink shame.
Would write incredibly beautiful,
Vile.
erotic prose into the show.
Horrible.
Under the name Deke Dotem. Doug then suspended him indefinitely from the program.
Had to.
And in honor of said suspension, Jay Randolph Jr., whose golf tournament, this was his brainchild in 2016.
At the Rock.
At the Rock, that's exactly right. Named the golf tournament the Dotem. And that is how. There it is right there.
Yes.
There it is. That's the creation of
Okay.
Deke Dotem right there. Let me hear that again, Chairman Kurt Martin. See what you think he's saying.
Deke Dotem.
Deke Dotem.
I think he is saying Deke
Yes, he
Dotem.
is.
He's speaking
Who's
to
Deke
us.
Dotem? I don't get that.
Oh,
In
that's
code.
not Deke. It's Deke.
Who the hell is Deke Dotem?
At least something good has come from
Dotem.
it. This a tournament like this.
So the texter took on the name Deke Dotem
Yep.
and then was awfully vile. Doug said, get out. It became a movement to free Dotem.
That's correct.
Golf tournament starts, raising money, and it's named the Dotem. Like you've got Doral, and now you've got the Dotem.
The Dotem.
Yeah. And
You got the master.
Best wishes to Mr. Dotem.
Dan McLaughlin would run
Danny Mac
into
last night.
Dennis, Denise, and their son Deke at Coors Field, usually in games that had gotten out of hand. Maybe in the seventh inning, Dan would happen to run into the Dotems, in a
Denise.
Colorado Rockies tilt.
So
Hey,
it's-
Doug, I got a question for you. Yeah. When we win the Open, will you please free Dotem?
That was
Got
Chris Nagel, who was playing in the U.S. Open, which he did multiple times. I think that one was at Brookline. Michael Wellington, friend of the show. I believe you might know the Wellington family. From,
Beef.
That's right, Beef Wellington. He was caddying for Nagel, and Wellington told him to bring up Deke Dotem. Probably texted it to him. Nagel, obviously not a regular listener, and read it as Dotem. When we win the Open.
Good talking, guys. Free Dotem.
When the PGA Championship was here in 2018, players would hit their golf clubs at Belle Reve, and then you would hear one of our listeners screaming free Dotem right after the swing to try to get that onto the CBS telecast.
So the PGA Championship will not be coming back.
Probably
apparently.
not.
No.
That would have
because of
been a
that.
great Calvin weekend. Like, would you say the Dotem screams inspired your play, Tiger?
Well, I'll tell you what's inspiring
There
people.
you go.
And that's Stiefel. Stiefel is inspiring. One of the fine sponsors of this here program, been around St. Louis since 1890.
Doug, I have a Stiefel cap on.
I see that. The bull
Big
and the
fan.
bear
That's right.
tangling, and that's what they do for many years. At Stiefel, they take a different approach to wealth management. Working with a Stiefel advisor is about more than just building a portfolio. It's about understanding your financial goals, motivation, how you picture your legacy. The first step is developing a sound strategy. Your advisor will take the time to get to know who you are and where you are headed. Your questions and concerns will form the framework of a wealth management plan that is unique to you. At Stiefel, they have the knowledge, experience, and resources to help you address even the most complex needs. They've grown to become a worldwide operation, certainly one of the best in the world at what they do, and one of our great sponsors that we are so happy and proud to have. And they've also donated 2 grounds passes for all the members of the winning teams at the Dotem. They got them yesterday and today. If you're on that winning foursome, you get 2 grounds passes for the upcoming Stiefel Charity Classic in September. So that'd be 8 passes given out today to the foursome.
How about that?
Wins.
Outstanding. Thank you to Stiefel for their sponsorship of the dossier and the passes for our winners today. The winning score yesterday, 16 under. Martin, good news. I just got a text from Cletus. His team finished in 3rd place yesterday. He is playing again today. And he said Mike Lee is going to be in the house today.
I was just going to ask, will Cletus be bringing Mike Lee? Because often it says he would say, hey, tell Tim, or I'd say, hey, Cletus. It's usually, hey, Tim, or hey, Cletus is how my conversations with Mike often begin. You know, we keep saying that Oak Valley is like a hidden gem.
Yeah.
I say the same about Mid-America Airport. The word is starting to spread because if you want to get down to Florida, you want to get there fast, you want to get a great deal, you can do it at Mid-America St. Louis Airport in Mascoutah, Illinois, not far at all from downtown St. Louis. Go to Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale. Flights to Destin, you can get there at about $1.15, an hour and 15 minutes gets you to Destin. They now fly to Gulf Shores, Hilton Head, Las Vegas, all great spots to get away or take the family. You can do it at a great low price because of Allegiant Airlines, and you have the convenience of Mid-America St. Louis Airport. You park, walk in, get to the gate, about 15 minutes. You park for less than $10 a day, saving money, going to great destinations. It's no longer a secret. Mid-America St. Louis Airport, wherever you're headed, you can book that flight today at flymidamerica.com.
There it is. We got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day coming up. Cal Kennedy's here, the John Wooden of grade school basketball. Cal Kennedy, Doug, I mean, look at that.
He has been accused of one of the fixers at some of those St. Gabriel events.
My, wow.
I'm not saying it's true.
You are going to have some. You're going to have some lawyers to be speaking to about that.
I've heard the accusations.
He's wearing a shawl, and it just has all the years that St. Gabe's has won,
which is
5th
every year.
grade, 6th grade, 7th grade tournaments. All of that.
You're damn right. So we'll have the Design
Where's
Air Heating and
Fungo?
Cooling email
Fungo's
today.
not here?
Fungo not here.
Now, he has also been accused, whether it's right or wrong. I don't
Allegedly.
know.
Yeah.
I jumped out of it.
Serious charges. The Design Air Heating and Cooling email today is coming up. I'm not going to golf, but can I just show up to see Doug's celebrity hole? That's from Jack B's Hampton homie.
It's the 12th hole.
The 12th, 114.7 yards. Mark Hanna, sponsor of the 9 o'clock hour, sent me video of your son Greg Vaughn ball striking yesterday, and he went a little long on there. He went over. But Greg Vaughn's a ball striker. He probably was hitting like a 58-degree wedge.
I don't know.
Guy's a ball striker.
He could never pull a baseball. I remember that from his youth.
Wow.
Get around on it early.
Doug was very critical.
One time, get around on the pitch. I'd stand there, coach at first base, waving $1, say, "Here's your reward if you'll just foul the ball off on your pull side just once in your life." That's all I wanted to see. I don't think I ever saw it.
You're that kind of dad, huh?
Yeah.
You were
Well,
that guy,
if he's
baseball
hitting
guy.
if he's hitting it to the opposite field, that was probably a good piece of hitting.
It wasn't a good piece of hitting. There were foul balls over the third base dugout.
Did he
Every
ever
pitch
yell?
the same. Every pitch was like, a 50-mile-an-hour fastball. There was no curves. There was nothing else. You would think at some point you'd time that and get around on the ball. Here's your reward. I would scream that, and it didn't help.
Probably talking to his therapist to this day about it. And he'd be in the car, Tim crying, saying, "But Dad, we won the series."
Doesn't matter. Series doesn't matter. How many times were you told about Cardinals winning the series against the Orioles yesterday? I saw people doing it with like 5 or 6 times.
I get it all day now, all the time. All the time.
Cards and Rangers tonight.
Mhm.
Matthew,
Yeah.
future
Hello.
All-Star Matthew Liberatore
That's right,
on the
that's
mound.
right.
My favorite update was Chairman pulling his best Jackson. And the Stanley Cup Finals are now set. Edmonton finishes off Dallas, and now Edmonton advances to play. They're going to play the
Somebody-
It
Panthers.
felt
Yeah.
Jackson-esque because it was hockey
It was a
and there was just
tribute.
an information void.
It just makes it more folksy.
It is folksy, and a lot of texts have come in today noticing that the broadcast has been flawless and Jackson is not here and he'll have to answer for it on Monday. So enjoy the wedding tonight, pal, because you will pay on Monday. Speaking of which, the recovering alcoholic says, Wellington is in my master bedroom as we speak.
So why would that be?
I don't know. I just read what's...
He's texting from 10 feet away.
He's next to Iggy, and they're texting, or the recovering alcoholics texting in.
Iggy was
about
greeting.
Wellington.
Did you know Iggy was greeting as cars would pull up to drop off their clubs? And I'm sure they were excited to see Ken, but they didn't really welcome the smoke that was blowing into their vehicles.
As they would drop off the clubs. Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day will be coming up momentarily here on this program. Out here today, you will have Chris Pondoff's Anonymous Recovery Podcast with the long drive. That's where Iggy will be on number 11. Then I believe it's number 9, if memory serves, where the crew from 100 West Dental will be for the closest to the pin competition. 100 West Dental is Dr. Brandon Pryor. And if you don't have dental insurance with 100 West Dental, that's not a problem. The membership plan aids in the cost of dental work for those who don't have dental insurance. Go online at 100westdental.com, or you can call 636-585-0100. It's 100 West Dental. They are located on Manchester in Baldwin. That's Dr. Brandon Pryor and his wonderful team. If you're going to be here at the Dotem today, you're going to meet members of that team on number 9, where they have the closest to the pin competition going on. 100westdental.com. No phone call needed to get in. Just check the calendar online for availability and book right then and there. 100 West Dental. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. The program is TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN as we broadcast live from day 2 of the Dotem, presented to you by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
You kidding me?
TMA is broadcasting live from Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort for the Dotem Golf Tournament, refreshed by Michelob Ultra on 101 ESPN.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's springtime in Normandy on the Rock Road. It's the Dotem and the Hoosiers of the game. Who'll be buried in the sunflower garden on Friday afternoon? Who'll walk that 18th fairway singing this tune? Free Dotem, your stepdads and bleach, they play on my mind like a song.
Heartwarming, isn't it?
Free Dotem, it's you that I love. It's you that I miss when I'm gone. Well, it's Iggy.
Hello, friends.
Slow. DJ Gabe, Timmy Tom Tom, Low Sween, and it's the Tushy Group, and it's
Heaven's sakes.
The most disturbing part is people here know the words.
Yeah, they're mouthing the lyrics like we're at a Beyonce show.
Holding up their lighters.
Again, Tim, heavily male audience, but women are welcome to play in the Dotem.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see as many guys here.
Yeah, it's almost always all women. Beautiful Victoria's Secret type models who come out and play.
And that's why we have Donut Drive-In being enjoyed.
I'm ready.
And then Lee's famous recipe chicken and Super Smokers. And a feast here for the Dotem, the 2025 Dotem, making its glorious return at Oak Valley. Sitting at the dais with us, for those of you watching on YouTube, you're exactly right. It's the great Mike Lee,
who came up with Deke Dotem. Wonderful to have
Yeah.
Mike here. Mike Lee, friend of the show for years and years.
Doug bringing risk into
I
play.
do.
Hello, it is great to see you, Mike.
Yeah, clean. Them make me come.
Is that right?
But what a great endorsement for the event. They made me come.
Yeah, I think that might be the promo for the 26th Dotem.
What did Rammers say? Boy, they're still doing that.
That's exactly right.
Mike,
Hey,
great to
Martin.
see you, buddy.
Hey, Martin.
Yes.
You remember a long time ago we met, and you don't believe me? I used to have Ozzy Smith number, and we call him. You come
Yes.
to my birthday party.
It all started Mike Lee's birthday
At Mike
party,
Lee's birthday
which was
party.
off
You were there.
Steak and Shake. I went. Steak
No,
and Shake
at-
off Olive.
at Ozzy restaurant.
at Ozzy. The first year I went, Mike and I had talked on the phone for a couple of years.
And you don't believe me? I had Ozzy
Oh, yeah,
number.
he kept
and we
saying,
call
Yeah,
him.
I can tell Martin doesn't believe you now.
And so I show up at the birthday party at Ozzy's restaurant. Mike and his family are all gathered. And I think his sister said, "Aren't you that TV guy? Why are you here?" And I said, "I talk to your brother every night."
Mickey
Ozzy
Carroll
Smith
was
comes
there,
out of the
too.
kitchen. Ozzy goes, "Martin, what are you doing here?" And I
Martin.
said, "You know Mike?"
Mickey Carroll was there too.
Mickey
Of course.
Carroll.
And Nico Smith was there.
Yeah,
Right.
Nico.
Well, I
Mickey
mean,
Carroll.
you would expect Martin, Nico Smith, Ozzy Smith.
If you
and
had
Mickey
that
Carroll.
on your bingo card, and then it began, Ozzy and I would often say, "Have you talked to Mike?" I'd see Ozzy Smith at an All-Star game. Martin, Mike's looking for you. Don't give him my number. Don't give him your number. And what did I do, Mike? I gave you a big speech about don't give away people's cell phone numbers.
That's the same speech
Oh.
Joe Buck gave you about John Hamm's
Yes.
number.
So I gave the speech to Mike Lee, and a month later, Warner signs with the New York Giants, and Mike says, "I got Warner's new number."
Oh, no.
And I said, "I'm going to need that." And he said, "I can't give it to you."
Hey, Martin, you remember a long time ago? You said, "I don't believe you had Ozzy Smith number."
I don't
gave
remember
it to
saying
you.
that.
Yep.
Remember I gave it to
You showed me. I love you, Mike. He did show
That
me.
was Martin pressing eject right there. Hey, Aesthetic Design and Build has been building high quality custom decks and outdoor living spaces now for over 30 years. It's over, Doug. The cold, the rain, it's over.
Well,
now we're going to be
yeah.
outside. We're going to be enjoying the warm weather. If you want to get the custom outdoor living space, get it from Dan and his team at Aesthetic Design and Build. They're online at aestheticdesignandbuild.com. Let them know I sent you their way. You can call them at 636-532-5008. They have a showroom in Chesterfield Valley. They walked me through it. I had them to my house. It's aestheticdesignandbuild.com. And we have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. And you want to tell the people about Design Air, and that's Seth Goldcamp.
Right. With the warm air coming, you better be sure that air conditioner's cranking along and doing well. It's beautiful today. You may not need it, but you know darn well in 2 weeks it's going to be 125 degrees in St. Louis. Design Air, their experienced technicians provide a full range of HVAC services using the latest technologies to install, maintain, and repair air conditioning, furnaces, boilers, you name it. They specialize in improving indoor air quality with advanced air purifiers and regular air duct cleaning. Their HVAC services include HVAC installation, preventative maintenance, emergency service, comprehensive HVAC repair. They handle air conditioning repair, heat pump services, furnace maintenance. They can do it all with your HVAC system, and their commercial HVAC services caters to businesses, ensuring prompt and professional heating and cooling solutions with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction. Design Air is your trusted choice for all HVAC services, including air conditioning and indoor air quality improvement. That's Design Air.
Time for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Desmond Tutu. And after today's show, let's just add Tim McKernan to the list of difference makers.
Oh, no.
It's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. Can't get it out of my head. Miss him, kiss him, love him. Wrong move, you're dead. That Doug is poison. Never trust a khaki butt and a smile. That's why this email is about the first time I let another man enter my sacred temple.
That's enough. It's enough, Kevin Miller.
Whoa!
Government name?
No, it says Big Ben Peg N.
I'm guessing Kevin Miller.
Well, it is that. Have you looked
Okay,
at it? You
no.
don't even have the laptop.
No.
Did you write?
I didn't.
Martin, he's been suspended.
And he somehow snuck through
I think he
our
did.
tight perimeter.
Yeah, it's tough to get in. It's about time the media in this town finally had the balls to tackle the ranking of North County grade schools.
Thank you.
St. Dismas is the Tim. Sacred Heart is the St. Louis Chiefs fans. St. Sabina is Martin's Good Friday Sausage Pizza. And St. Ferdinand and their Rocket Playground is the CBC. Angela Marisi is Jackson's 7-iron. And St. Norbert is the non-mustard potato salad. That's from Shooter McGavin, the Vice President of Amateur Pyrotechnics.
Very odd email. Shooter McGavin.
Beautiful, flawless execution of the show today, gentlemen. I think we all know who we can thank for that. Hit them straight, boys. Doug, are we still waiting on your little pill to hit home base?
No.
That's from John.
John. He's new.
And finally, peace and love, peace and love. Once again, Doug hit the nail on the head this morning when he opened the show with his assessment of Oak Valley Golf Course. Great layout, great track, but that Tushy booth off the 15 tee box really ties the course together, doesn't it? In addition to the Tushy booth, the course offered several great pissing trees.
Oh.
It's pretty scenic, but that didn't matter to the gentleman I saw take a handful of girdle out, middle of the fairway pisses.
No.
The guy was nice enough to later offer me some Boone's Farm from a paper cup that I think predated the Clinton administration. I want to doff my cap to the guy in denim yesterday who claimed the second place prize. The look of disgust on Jackson's father's face when he saw those Lee dungarees was outstanding. It's the same look I imagine the father of the producer, Jeff's son, gave to his own son when he inexplicably parlayed his master's degree into an entry-level AM radio position at a station ran by a shoe mogul in a strip mall that features a broken-down Tonka truck with a Fenton North class of 05 decal. Willie, let's take a call from our Uber scam expert. That's from Al in Dadeville.
Oh, is it really? Al in Dadeville.
A lot of work went into that.
Yeah, the players are competing today, Martin, and it's fun to see them competing at a high level.
I like the fact that Shooter McGavin really dug deep on the North County
grade
nice. Schools, Catholic, NOCO represent. Want to give them some love
Norbert.
Today. Alan Dadeville, that was pretty strong.
There's some great ones. And then I guess Kevin Miller's not eligible.
Not eligible?
I don't know.
No, he's not eligible.
What the rule
He's
is.
not. I'm going to vote for Alan Dadeville.
I think just to put Tim on the spot, I'll go Shooter McGavin.
I'm going Alan Dadeville.
Yeah.
Alan Dadeville.
All right.
I mean, it was. Hey, listen, I doff my cap to the participants. Wonderful work.
I just wanted a game 7. That's
yeah,
all.
and you know what? I respect that. That's why I'll be pulling for the Knicks on this weekend. All right, time for us to shut it down. But I want to say this before we go. Number one, thanks to the boys on BK and Ferrario, Tanner, Brandon Kiley, and Alex Ferrario for doing the extra hour while we're out here playing slap and tickle in the woods. Also to Jesse Kiowski and the Hubbard Radio staff, the promotions team, the sales team. This event takes a lot of work, and while I deserve all of the credit,
you do. Yeah.
I do take all the credit.
I do. Thank you. I do want to point out that other people were involved. It's just I'm the one who made it work, and I hope that comes off the right way.
God bless it.
In addition, Thank you to the St. Louis Hero Network for partnering with us. A lot of friends of Brian McKenna's are in attendance. Were in attendance yesterday and here today. And I would think that those friends and family members of Brian's would be incredibly pleased to see the amount of support his legacy has meant to the people who are in attendance today. And they will see that on full display tomorrow for Brian McKenna Day from 2 to 7 on Mackland in between Devonshire and Nottingham. We want to thank our sponsors, Michelob Ultra, for being the presenting sponsor of this event, all of our whole sponsors, Pond Offs Anonymous Recovery Podcast for the Long Drive Contest, 100 West Dental for the closest to the pin contest, Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, Donut Drive-In, Texas Roadhouse, and Super Smokers, and all of the people at Oak Valley. This has been a wonderful experience discovering, Doug, you call it a hidden gem?
That's what I called it.
And I think that's exactly what it is. And, of course, the listeners who, while they might be complete a-holes on social media and in the text inbox and in the YouTube chat, when it comes down to it, Doug, they ratchet their games up and they support the program, the sponsors, and our causes. And that's why this awful show has been on since 2004. So thank you to everybody involved. And really, thank you to me as we sign off from Oak Valley. For Doty on the ones and twos.
Doug, I don't think he means it, Doug.
He does.
He does.
For Martin Kilcoyne, for my brother Kevin, and for Douglas Elvin Vaughn, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.